start from the beginning. I just got a letter in the mail.
You just got a letter in the mail?
Yeah.
Okay, so perfect. So this is the applicant filed a rezoning application back in the end of 2024 to rezone roughly 190 acres of, excuse me, of property right across Interstate 85 between Spence, on both sides of Spence Road and Old Sonoya being the border to the north. To rezone the property to build 3 light industrial warehouse buildings, totaling roughly 1.6 million square feet. As a part of that process, because of the scope of the development, we had to go and get a development of regional impact analysis completed. Now, the development of regional impact analysis analyzes things like traffic considerations, infrastructure needs, transit needs, things of the such. And so as a result of that, and Antonio, who's our civil engineer, can speak more in detail about the things that came out of that meeting, or out of that approval. But generally speaking, there are some infrastructure improvements that the applicant will undertake in addition to the infrastructure improvements already taking place at the intersection that you all probably all aware of now and can see and probably feel the impacts of already. Nonetheless, that's sort of the high level scope of what we've requested, but here's a little bit of the process. So at this point, it is now September the 15th. So backing up to August, the city council deferred our application for 60 days. And this is following a city council meeting on July 22nd, where there was a motion to approve our request, but there was no action taken. That vote did not pass, and ultimately no action was taken, which is why we were back on the city council agenda on August 12th to get an actual action for Robert's Rule of Order and how the city of South Fulton generally proceeds. Prior to that, we had held a zoning public hearing in which folks from the neighborhood, from the surrounding areas, came out as part of the public hearing process that the city of South Fulton holds and mandates all applicants to go through. And there was I would call it a robust debate, if you will. I think that's a fair characterization of it. There are a number of different concerns that people brought up, a number of different things that we were hoping to address as the applicant team and developers, which we have taken the opportunity to do on numerous occasions. Prior to that meeting, there was a planning commission meeting, which is also a part of the city of South Fulton process. And then prior to that, there was a public participation meeting in which we sent out mailers to roughly 4,700 residents in the area. So the city of South Fulton requires you to send out mailings to people that live within a 1 mile radius of the property. And so we went over and beyond that and went outside of that parameter to make sure that we got as much information as we could out to the people that are around the area, which means that we sent letters to people that were in the city of South Fulton, city of Fairburn, and whatever else jurisdiction that they might have been in the immediate area. So that's sort of a backwards way of kind of telling you how we got to where we are today. And since we have had the original city council meeting in July, followed up with the second city council meeting in August, we have done a number of different things to this point to get to where we are right now tonight. The first thing is we held tours with city council members of the site to bring folks out to the site, because there's a lot of confusion, a lot of misunderstanding about exactly where the site was located, what it was near, what it was not near, what the sort of impacts would be of the development from just being able to see and put boots on the ground right on the site. Following that, on August 22nd, we held a tour of the site with several members of the community. Mr. DeMann was in attendance. Several other folks showed up and came out to come and see the site. We drove around the entire site, drove through the site. Fortunately for me, I have a truck and it didn't mess me up too bad. But we also toured other industrial sites in the area just to see the scope of industrial already in the area, and sort of give people the true context that we thought would be helpful in really understanding and analyzing what we were asking for. And since then, we decided, okay, we've done 2 tours with city council folks, we've done tours with residents. We need to do a targeted mailing and targeted outreach to the folks that live in the Renaissance community and nearby, so they can have an opportunity to come out and ask questions about what exactly y'all doing, because your subdivision, I'm assuming, do you live in Renaissance?
Yeah.
I assume, okay. So your subdivision is directly on Spence Road, right? And it's directly impacted by this development. And so we wanted to give you an opportunity, give folks in that neighborhood an opportunity, as well as other folks, to come out and talk about this project some more. understand what we were doing, ask questions, propose reasonable conditions and things of such. And so we sent out a notice on September 5th to all of those residents at that time. We also sent out an email on September 4th to the folks that we went on the tour with. And so to get out the word as much as we can, but also try to make it as targeted as much as we possibly can. So that's where we are now. This is why we're here tonight, to listen, to understand exactly what the concerns are, if there's any way for us to address any additional concerns, if you have any additional questions that have not been asked or answered before, we're happy to do that now. And again, the developer is running a little bit late due to car troubles he's had, so he'll be here closer to 7 o'clock. But in the meantime, you got me, and I'm pretty knowledgeable about the project, and we also have 2 members of our team here that can also speak to the project. So I'll start with that. And when he gets here, we'll have some more visuals so you can see the boards and things like that. So again, in the meantime, you got me. Yes, sir.
Thank you, young man. Just to say that that's sort of a tarnished and one-sided version of where we are to get here tonight. It's almost 100 acres, and they posted one sign, and the sign that I saw was on Highway 92. So that sign was posted late, close to the actual meeting date. So the public was not notified. And the only reason they emphasize that they sent out almost 5,000 notices is because there was a complaint with the state attorney general that they didn't have the correct published notice. The notice that they sent out was a glossy card that looked more like campaign material with Miss Pritchard on the front, and then the information was on the back. And as you know, you get a lot of junk mail and people throw stuff. More people probably threw that away than actually paid attention to what they were being notified of. So the public showed up at the planning code enforcement meeting, and they made a recommendation to vote no, or they recommended no, we don't want this project, you know. The Atlanta Regional Commission says in their documentation that they provided on the night of the hearing, the public hearing, to bring it to the public, in their information, the Atlanta Journal of the Regional Commission says, this is residential, should be developed as residential agriculture. But what they're proposing is 3 warehouses. They don't have any employers to move into the warehouse. But so what happened? The city council, when it came to them and the public commented on it, they voted no. I think it was a 3-5 vote, 4-5, whatever it was. It was turned down by the city council. Then after the fact, up comes the city attorney who said, oh, you know, we need to bring this back to the agenda, and the public will not have an opportunity to speak. So now there seems to be, according to Ms. Pritchard, that there's some concern among her constituents and other people that's why we're having this second meeting, so that we can have our concerns addressed by the representative of the developer who has car trouble. So with that said, that sort of gives you both sides of the scenario tonight, just to let you know. You are welcome.
If you will, that's not an entirely accurate depiction of what occurred on the city council meeting. There was never a vote to deny. The vote to approve was not, that motion did not pass. Then there was no subsequent action, which means there was no final action taken.
Thank you. I stand corrected.
Further.
Yes.
Further.
Yes.
You mentioned the Atlanta Regional Commission's notice of decision on the DRI, which they recommended approval of what we were doing. And we have a copy of that here today.
Well, I wish I brought the paperwork.
And listed a number of different conditions and things that we needed to do to ameliorate the impacts of what we were proposing to do. Okay. So I will say that to say this: there is nothing underhanded nor shady or anything like that between the developer, myself, or anybody on council.
Then why did you say this is what we're going to do instead of what we propose to do?
Semantics, sir. That's a tomato. We made a request to rezone the property. And what we propose to do, what we are going to do if approved, is develop the property as we've shown you to this point. Now, at this time, are there any other specific questions that we can answer? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, supposedly all of these flyers were sent out, these 4,900 flyers.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I did receive that flyer.
Yes, ma'am.
2
Do you mind if I
days-
sit down?
No, you go right in. 2 days prior to the last community meeting,
Mm-hmm.
I had a responsibility, I could not be here at that meeting, but it was noted at the council meeting that I didn't bother to show up. First of all, for those of you who do not know me, I am Julie White, Julie Jernigan White. I own, along with my dad, 38 acres connected to this property. When my dad goes out his kitchen door of his house, in less than 150 yards, he will be looking at a warehouse. That is where we are. This property that is connected to our family property, that my family has lived on almost 100 years, we were always told by City of Fairburn, of course, which City of Fairburn doesn't have a leg to stand on now, that that would not be commercial property, that would stay residential or agricultural property, which we were hoping that would happen. Okay, I can talk in circles and I apologize.
No, you're fine.
All right, the next thing is, you know, all this notification that supposedly everyone is getting, I am connected to this property. I was also told at a city council meeting that I had no right to speak because I was not a City of South Fulton resident. I totally disagree with that. I do not think that it's right for somebody to come in and take property, not take, but build on property without notifying the next door neighbor. I mean, if you put up a fence that's going to be right on the two properties, do you not have to talk to your next door neighbor? If you were going to put an easement on that property, do you not have to talk to that neighbor? We have never received notification. This young lady says she just got a letter. I've yet to get that letter that was supposedly supposed to come out for tonight.
That's because that letter was targeted to the residents of the Renaissance community.
So that letter was not targeted to the person that's connected to the property.
You did receive the flyer, though, correct?
No, I did not.
You
I
said
didn't
you-
either.
You said you received the flyer.
The very first one for the
Yeah,
first meeting,
yeah.
not for this one.
Yeah, that's
Not
good.
for this one. I received nothing.
Understood.
So I don't feel like that is fair, and as a person who votes, who cares about her community, who cares about her country and everything else,
Mhm.
you walk in and introduce yourself, Ms. Pritchard, and I appreciate that. But do you know how many times I have sent you personally an email about this project? Do you know how many times you've responded to me? 0. Do you know that I have asked the developer? I have asked people at City of South Fulton. You know, you say you came and you rode the property and you took people around.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go talk to the people that live right next door? Did you ride the real property with those people?
We did.
No, you didn't, because you didn't come to my house.
We absolutely did a tour. Mr. DeMann was there. He can speak
Excuse
to
me? Did you come and ride with me,
We
the
did not-
next door neighbor?
no,
Because
no,
you don't
ma'am.
have to, because I'm not in City of South
That's,
Fulton.
but that's not, that was never a part of what.
But I
our plan was.
asked for the city council, I asked for the mayor, I asked for all of you in the city council meeting to please come. Please come. I will take you around. I will talk to you. I will talk to you about the history of the property. I will talk to you about the impact of what you're talking about doing. I can talk to you about the impact of what's already there,
Sure.
what it has done to Fairburn. I've lived in Fairburn all my life. I'm 66 years old.
Understood.
That's a long time. It takes me sometimes 10 to 20 minutes to get out of my driveway, When you put these 3 warehouses with all of the impact of traffic that that's gonna bring, what is that gonna do? Am I ever gonna be able to get out of my driveway? Is somebody gonna put a red light there?
Where do you live?
490 Spence Road. Yes, sir.
It's directly adjacent to the proposed site.
Yes, I understand that. I just wanna make sure I understood exactly where. it is.
Yes, I mean, I am right there. I am right there in the middle of all of these things.
It would be on the north side of Spence Road.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you have anything else?
Well, I'm just, I get on my soapbox.
And that's
My
totally fine.
heart is out here.
That's totally fine. I totally understand it, and I can tell you from the developer's perspective, there was never any intent not to include you.
Well, I have never been included,
I understand that.
ever,
I understand
and
that.
that's not fair.
I totally understand that, and that, but you did receive the no call for the first public participation meeting.
The first, but 2 days prior. And I
It was
asked,
mailed
I
out
said,
well in
listen,
advance of that.
well, that doesn't matter, but you say that one was mailed out again this time, so even though I was in a mile of the property, Should I have not gotten one?
We did
Should I
not-
have not been notified?
This was not a meeting that we planned as a part of the process. This is an extra meeting that we planned, that we intended to target the residents of the Renaissance community. When we come here tonight, the conversation is, okay, there may be additional people that show up tonight because we emailed other people the invitation out.
Okay.
Assuming that they would send that invitation out, which is, I'm assuming how you were here tonight.
I heard somebody told.
Correct. That we will offer another meeting, whether it's virtual or whatever the case might be, to talk to people even more. We don't go back to city council until the end of October. So we're really making the effort here to come and talk to whomever and however we need to talk to. So please don't take us not talking to you initially as any sign of disrespect or as any sign of trying to exclude you in any way, because that's simply not the case. We want to talk to you.
Well, please do,
I'm
because
here, and
it is totally disrespectful for the city of South Fulton to come in and do this to the city of Fairburn, to the residents that are right there attached to that property. This is gonna put a major impact on this side of the Fairburn area. I mean, our roads are terrible already right there from Oakley industrial traffic that decides to come down there when there's an accident up here or it's backed up or whatever. It causes total disruption. It has caused a total disruption for the infrastructure, which I'm not quite sure how all of that's gonna be handled.
Antonio can speak to the infrastructure piece whenever we get to that.
You know, so there's just, and I've said before, I mean, you know, some people don't even think about, you know, what are you doing to the environment? What are you doing to the wildlife? What are you doing to the extended community that's there? Can we not think about some better things other than put warehouses? We've got empty warehouses right here. It's just totally confusing.
Sure. I see your hand in the back, ma'am. What, did you want to make a comment or ask a
Yeah, just a
question?
couple comments, and mine will be quick. I'm slowly learning about the whole process.
Can you state your name for me? I'm sorry.
Patricia Wise. Yeah, and it's quite obvious that there are many people that are against this whole thing. One being the fact that is it planning and zoning? They've already denied it. Now, I know that they're not the ultimate denial that the city council is, but that should be a red flag to our districts, District 7, Miss Proton Linda Purchett, and the developers. Now, let me be fully aware it's already a done deal. I mean, you don't put up whatever you're getting ready to do on 188 acres
Yes, ma'am.
without it already being somewhat already a done deal. So, but I think if anything that we need to understand as a group in here is that we have to go back to our leaders, you know what I mean? And start really voicing our concerns. Because when they come in, a lot of it's already done. And like you said, what in God's name are you gonna do with 188 acres? What do they say, it's how many football fields? Or whatever it is, how many buildings you're gonna put up, 4 or 5, 6 warehouses?
3.
I mean, okay, 3, it doesn't matter. And when you talk about semantics, we don't wanna hear about your semantics either, just like we didn't wanna hear the last time I was here. Well, you're on Oakley Industrial Boulevard, aren't you? Like, duh, you are on an industrial boulevard. No, my intention wasn't to have 250 million warehouses all around me. I live in a community for 16 years. Some have been in Oakley Township for 20, 30, but I get it, you know what I mean? But the emotional and the reality and the green space and what we could have better over there is what our cry is. I know it doesn't matter to you, because like I said, I've heard you enough times already. And the developers, like I said, we live in Oakley, so you should have figured that out when we were in industrial parkway here. But I understand the line is there, and just for all of you, and this is for all of us, we've got to do better. We've got to get it way in the beginning stages. You know what I mean? We got to get it in its infancy, and I think there should be a lot more disclosure and open and honest communication about these things that are coming to the thing. Come to those commission meetings, those zoning and planning and those other meetings, and get with Linda and say, look, I understand the taxes and the breaks, and this guy's getting ready to make $5 million off this deal, and who's gonna fill up all these warehouses, but I digress. But that's just for all of us. We gotta get out there and be more proactive. Thank you.
Thank you.
So who's gonna fill up these warehouses?
Excuse me?
Who's coming in these warehouses?
So there'll be light industrial warehouse users.
But you don't know who?
You're not gonna ever know who before you get the zoning, because they won't even talk to you until you get the zoning.
I got a question about warehouse. Are they gonna be built strong enough to be able to support a green dirt on top as farmland? And will they have enough electricity coming in to do hydroponics on the inside? Because I've been watching all these fancy warehouses go up, and one of these days we'll get to a point where nobody gonna want these warehouses, and we've got to find a use for these warehouses. I've done industrial concrete repair in my younger days, and to support a roof, you need to do more than what they are doing now to be able to grow on top and to do hydroponics inside. So if you're gonna do something for us, why don't you fix us up some nice hydroponics greenhouses, and instead of all these big parking lots for the trucks, make smaller and growing area where we can grow food to feed Atlanta? Why can't this little pocket be the New Jersey of Atlanta? Because New Jersey used to be the breadbasket of New York City. They grew everything in New Jersey and took it to New York. Nice 200 acres, grow something here, feed Atlanta.
Understood. So, these, as you speak to the environmental concerns about the buildings, it will be built to lead specifications.
I know, but they will not hold it, you cannot go on top and cover them with dirt and grow crops. They're not that strong.
Yeah, so my name is Randall. I'll be handling the sustainability for the project. Great point about the ability to have a green roof. That's something that we could evaluate with the developer. As far as hydroponics, I don't know if that's ever been discussed, but
Well, see, what's gonna happen is, and I'm not upset with y'all, see, I'm upset at the fact that nobody really cares about the neighbors. But as far as the building, I mean, you got a chance now to do something with these buildings. If it goes through, you got a chance to do something with these buildings that nobody else is doing, so that in case you cannot get enough customers to fill these warehouses, you can put these buildings to work and, feed the folks. And you see tore up all that ground, you took out all the trees. And the reason I know about the ground is for 5 to 10 years, I farmed that land back 4 years ago. So I'm the last farmer on that piece of land. And I know it will produce good food on a continuous basis. So here you come with your big bulldozers and these hills that it's got there, and you're gonna cut the heck out of them, level everything out,
The terraces.
throw that dirt away. You're not even gonna recycle that dirt. I mean, that is that's about $5 million worth of good prime topsoil located on that land. But no, let's see, push over the side and bulldozer. Pull it out. So that's my thing, is how all these developments don't care. And you're not the only one. I mean, I've been able to watching them over years. Like I said, being a landscaper, yeah, I can make a whole lot of money putting shrubs back around this place. But these little teeny shrubs that they put up and stuff, that's not replace what used to be there. Because on this property, there is a base tree, either base tree or poplar tree, that I can't get my hands around. A big monster of a tree. But it's gonna be, bye. It's gone.
I have a question. So what is the perceived impact on our property values if you build this?
And guys, I apologize, had some printer issues, and I wanted to make sure y'all had all of the backup that you needed. So just as far as information about the CID, the actual notice of recommendation of approval from the staff, as well as from the DRI. So I didn't want that misinformation going out that something was approved or not. So the actual printout for that is right over there. But just a quick intro for those that have not met me. My name is Greg Bowler, and I am the developer. So KMT Partners is my company, founded about 2 years ago. who has no idea about KMT or this project at all?
We went on the project, but I don't know about KMT.
Great. So I've been here in Atlanta for about 15 years. I have roots here in South Fulton as well. KMT has done industrial development up and down the East Coast, mainly from Florida on up to Pennsylvania and over to New Jersey. It's been around like 20 million square feet across 7 states. Of the 15 years that I've done industrial development, well, I've done commercial real estate development. 12 of those 15 years have been solely industrial development. So this is my bread and butter. This is what I do, just like majority of a ton of other developers as well. Is that solely it? No, there is some mixed use deals that I'm doing as well, but I can do more with that, being that I'm now out of my own. Any other questions?
Oh, I asked about the impact on our property values.
There is no data at all that shows that industrial will drop your property value at all.
So with the potential health impacts and the traffic, I think there may be some data around that for property values.
There is not. I live around a heavy industrial area, and my property value has went up 6 figures each year.
Okay, I'm just gonna Google it and chat
Go
GPT.
ahead, go ahead, yeah. ChatGPT.
Are you thinking more about public health concerns with the,
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between property values versus if you have a concern on public health.
diesel exhaust and PM 2.5,
Mhm.
particulate matter?
Yeah, and majority of that is actually driven by us, by our cars. But as we might know, and I do want to make sure, guys, that everybody is able to hear. So if you guys could please just respect each person that's kind of speaking. But from a standpoint of this corridor and this location, we have Oakley Industrial, we have Fairburn Industrial, we also have 29. If you guys have driven down 29, there's a ton of landfills that are there. And then you also have some existing industrial that's there. You have the CSX terminal that's there. That is one of the largest in the state as well. And so these are all, this is why we feel like this makes the most sense. And all of those, a lot of the industrial is actually further from a major interchange other than this location, which is extremely close.
But this would be closer to.
This is the closest to an interstate that really reduces the most amount of impact to any type of residential around. And there has been significant consideration for the residents as well.
Also,
Yeah, we're about to go through that, so that's what I wanted to make sure. Cool. So what all did you miss? Did timeline? Great. Great, perfect. Okay. So just a high level, this is about a $150 million capital investment. All right, so not a small change investment at all. It does cost more to be able to export the dirt. We're keeping everything on site. From a jobs creation standpoint, we're looking at anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000 jobs. Roughly about 60% of those are white collar jobs, so that's in the office locations that are in these buildings.
You don't know what business you're going in there.
That's the reason why we give it a range. So we know the type of business that we're targeting. So the types of business that we're targeting are third-party logistics, e-commerce, light manufacturing, where it might be some type of assemblage. For an example, would be a Korean, auto, right? To where they're taking in parts, they would assemble that into a car and then ship out that car.
Would it be a data center?
There's no data center here. Maybe I should have started that. There's no data center. So even with this being potentially rezoned for light industrial, you still have to go through a special exemption.
So for a data center, you have to get a special use permit. It
Special
has
use
its
permit.
own set of requirements, use constraints, the whole 9 yards. This site will never be a data center under these codes.
Yeah, and there's not enough capacity as well. So I can say that was not a problem at all. Yes, ma'am.
With the job creation, would it be fair to assume that with 1,000 jobs, there'd be 1,000 cars as well coming and going? daily?
Yeah, if for any type of new development, there's gonna be more cars. So if it's a mixed-use development, you're gonna have more cars. If it's retail, you're gonna have 10x the amount that you would have on the industrial side. Yes?
How do you deal with the extra traffic with the people who live around the area?
Yes, and so we're actually gonna go through that, but, you know, the good thing I think was beautiful, guys, is that, I know it's annoying certainly right now, but with that 85 South improvements, is anyone who is not familiar with this? Okay, we got one, all right. So, this essentially is an $80 million construction improvement for traffic for future impacts, so not just what is currently happening at this interchange, but also future growth that's already happening in this area. And so what you guys might not know is that this is essentially a partial clover leaf. So from the big issue is that you're kind of coming off on this off ramp, this is backing up and staying on 85, right? So now they're gonna have that partial clover leaf to where you can keep going straight if you're trying to go south, keep going straight, hit that clover leaf and go down south here. Same for going north. Come off here and go north. These bridges, this overpass here, extremely inefficient, right? So the bridges are separated. That needs to be conjoined, which that will happen. They're gonna widen those lanes as well as on the turn lanes, getting on to the on-ramp as well. And then going down Sonoya Road's been expanded to 3 lanes. It's pretty significant that's being done there. Now we have our own improvements that we have to do in addition to that. That came through the DRI, so the Development Regional Impact. So for those that might not be familiar, the access to the site, most of you probably have just driven by it, like some might know, but most people just drive by the site's access because it's heavily wooded, it's gravel right now. And so we have to essentially put in a right turn lane for deceleration coming immediately off of Sonoya Road that ends up turning into Fairburn Industrial. And so as soon as you get off of the interchange, literally we gotta put in a right turn lane right there.
Hold on, please, Frank.
Yep.
Where are we talking
Thank
about?
you.
That's behind the rules.
Y'all see it?
Anyone here?
Right here.
I'll walk
Just
by.
before Valley Brook?
Yes, way before Valley Brook.
Where the new
It's
church
not like
is?
room to be way before. if it's-
Where the new church is?
Where the who?
The
Where
new church.
Right behind this,
Before the church. Before the church.
Before the church?
So Sonoya, you got Sonoya that connects to Old Sonoya. Old Sonoya Road is essentially a gravel road.
Yeah. That
We
goes
have to
over the
pave-
92 Sphinx Road.
We have to pave all of that. We have to pave all of that for an entrance and the right turn that's there. That is not paved as of right now. And so from a tax revenue standpoint, that would increase about 30x to about 1.4 million annually. And then just trying to get back to the traffic aspect. So we did hit on, I'm happy we hit on that. So GDOT's improvements on the interchange, that'll be done in 2027. Then from a DRI standpoint, in addition to the right turn lane that we have to put in there and also the improvements along Spence, which I will certainly get there. We also have to add a new MARTA stop as well, and sidewalks. There's no sidewalks along Spence. There's a ton of traffic along Spence already. Go ahead.
Where would, so the sidewalks along Spence, would those go from the site back across the highway towards Renaissance? Or how far along Spence would the sidewalks go?
Just along the frontage.
Just on the frontage?
Yeah, I got you. I thought you were saying something different, I'm sorry.
And it would stop
Excuse-
at the bridge and not go back across the bridge?
Henry,
Yeah, it would stop at her.
Gotcha.
what, I want to just make sure we're not, if there's questions that we're all answering them. Go ahead.
I
Yes.
have a clarifying question.
Yes, ma'am?
When you say, DRI, when you say DRI, okay, DRI, are you speaking of the ARC's DRI?
Yes, ma'am.
Or the?
There ain't
okay.
no other.
So this information is from the transportation, correct?
That's from the DRI.
And so I think earlier, I'm sorry, your name,
David?
Bailey?
Yes, ma'am, Bailey.
You mentioned that there was approval or,
A recommendation.
Recommendation, yep.
from the, I think you said approval.
Recommendation of approval, yes, ma'am.
Yes, recommendation of approval. They can only provide
Does
a,
not mean approval.
they can only provide.
Recommendation
I know
only
they can
provide.
only recommend, the ARC, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
so I think you said earlier that they said that they approved this.
A recommendation of approval, yes, ma'am.
I mean,
Can you show me that in writing, sir? What that looks like?
Yeah, we can show you.
Thank you.
isn't that on the paper?
Notice of decision, we wouldn't get our notice of decision without it.
Where it says GRTA,
But
it
this
says
is not
granted.
ARC.
They work in conjunction together, they do a, they do
So,
a.
let Sam,
Can we
separate-
see the ARC
Yes,
DRI?
ma'am.
So-
allow,
So just
Can we see
to
that?
clarify, so when you're in the Atlanta Regional Commission, it includes 13 counties within the
I don't need a
ARC.
history, sir.
Well, I'm
I don't need a history.
it's
explaining
important
that
for you to understand why they tell
ARC
that.
You don't know what I understand, okay?
ARC Greta does a concurrent review. So that's the ARC Greta DRI that we
I
went through.
understand, I
That's the
got it right
process.
here in the phone, right.
Yeah, so that's what we're saying. We went through Atlanta Regional Commission and we also went through Greta.
Except they address different things.
Well,
Greta
and-
addresses,
They're-
Greta
addresses
addresses
transportation.
transportation,
Exactly.
ARC addresses land.
Yeah, so if you look at the notice of decision, there's recommendations from both parties in the notice of decision. I think you probably have that in front of you.
Should we read the paragraph on the second page of the city's staff report regarding the DRI? Last paragraph on the second.
And I think what the question is that when you look up this information on ARC, it says that they do not recommend this.
Where it says the ARC found that this proposal isn't well aligned with developing suburb policy recommended by the, is that what we read?
That's what I was looking
Yes,
at.
that's what I was reading.
Okay, I just wanna make sure we all reading the same
That's
thing.
right, and we can all read.
There's a little section in the city of South Florida.
And that's per the ARC, correct?
That's the ARC.
This document about the city.
The Atlanta Regional Commission found that this, it doesn't align with what they would
The
like.
notice of decision was printed up.
Which is what it's on for, residential
Right.
agriculture. And residential preservation of critical environment.
You got a notice of decision?
Notice of decision's right up there, so.
I have more than what they have.
So put that down. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just, we talked back and forth about this, but, just looking at the, this is on the South Fulton staff report. It says, it just mentions the, variance on the buffer.
We're not
Again,
requesting.
why does that keep showing back up if that's something y'all, as I understand, you withdrawn?
We go, right, it goes by the original application and it's submitted.
Just a data document.
Nope, no problem. I appreciate you clarifying, because that's another reason why we have to revise it.
Can you just repeat what you now confirmed? Is
As
that,
far as what? Go ahead.
So Mr. Demand just asked us this question, he asked us, we have time and time talked about not requesting a variance on the buffer, yet it still shows up in the staff report.
from the
We were-
original request?
That's
of
correct, we were
50
just,
feet?
that's right, we were just confirming that we are not requesting that variance, but it still shows up in that document because of the original application that was filed. We're gonna amend the application to try to get that off of there, so there won't be any more confusion.
Okay.
And what is the setback would be then? I mean, for, sorry, I was.
So it's supposed to be 100, and they were originally requesting 50. And that's the rear buffer, is that would that be along Valley Brook side or around the 85 side, that 100?
So the 100-foot buffer applies to residentially zoned or used properties within the city of South Florida. So it doesn't apply to any properties adjacent to the city of Fairburn, because that's not how the code's written.
Gotcha.
And it also doesn't apply to any, other industrial zone properties.
So what buffers do you propose and where?
The buffers we propose are the significant ones that we already have. So this is just showing the access really quickly as far as how it looks right now for Old Sonoya. So the improvements. And do you want to clarify that now that you got a chance?
Yeah, so, the notice of decision, which is, the first page of notice of decision
Sarah,
says.
could you stand up for me, just so everybody can see?
All right, so the first page of notice of decision, this is the first paragraph of notice of decision. It says, the purpose of this notice is to inform KMT Partners, the applicant, and the city of South Fulton, the local government, the Georgia Regional Transportation Authority, and, the Georgia Department of Community Affairs, Georgia Department of Transportation, and Atlanta Regional Commission of Greta's decision regarding the development of regional impact, MAPCO Industrial Site, DRI 4313. Greta has completed a non-expedited review of the DRI development pursuant of section 4.2.3 of the Greta DRI review procedures, and has determined that the DRI plan of development's needs meets the Greta's review criteria set forth by 4.3. The DRI plan and development as proposed is approved subject to conditions as provided in attachment A, and subject to the limitations placed allowable modifications of DRI development as described in attachment B. So, attachment A has all the conditions, which includes all the bicycle, pedestrian, transit facilities that are required as part of the DRI. And then it also has all the roadway improvements noted as part of that as well.
I'm sorry, do we have that paper, or is it just?
Yeah, I don't have it. Is that the
Everybody
Greta?
can-
That's the
Okay,
Greta?
okay,
That's why I
so-
think
That's
Yeah.
the Greta. Did you get the Greta?
No, everyone,
No, no.
print it out.
We didn't get the Greta.
Just let them know that that's mine.
Thank you.
No, just, you can hold it and they can pass it around and read it, but can you please let them know, cause I'm recording, I
We
can't.
didn't get that.
That is the councilwoman, Dr.
Let the people in the back hear you. Well, you know what, maybe I'm gonna have to say it. Okay, everybody, hello,
One
hi.
second, please, 1 second, please.
Okay, everybody, nice to meet y'all, whoever I have not gotten to say hello to. I am Mayor Pro Tem Linda Pritchett, the councilwoman for District 7, this area that we're talking about, this proposed project. I printed out the report that I received from back in April. I just printed it out so that I can just follow along, or if anyone needed to read the information that I had, since these things come before the council and me as a member of the council, these are the type of information that we rely on in making our decision. So I brought it and printed it out, so if anybody wants to see it or read it, it's there. If you want it by email, you can give me your email address and I will forward you what I have later on tonight.
Appreciate that, Councilwoman.
Okay.
I
He
printed out
has
about
a-
like 10 to 15 of them, so you guys.
But I
can
have the
all pass
full,
around.
I got mine is thicker than theirs. But
Mine's front and back.
You can also go to the ARC Greta's website and go to DRI lookup and type in the 4313 as the project, and it actually has,
Everything.
yes.
We got a hand right there, then hand, and then hand.
So the ARC does contradict itself though, and you look under background on the second page, it says the ARC found that this proposal isn't well aligned with the developing suburbs policy recommendation that states there is a need in these areas for additional preservation of critical environmental locations and resources, as well as agricultural and forest uses. And that's what we've been bringing up tonight, is we have agricultural, there's a lot of agricultural land, there's a number of farms in the area, and this is not congruent with that. Whether if the ARC ended up approving it, okay, they may have given their approval, but they're not happy with it.
Isn't that based upon the existing zone?
Yeah.
So you guys understand where the existing zoning came from, correct? It was not the ARC.
Oh, it's been zoned agricultural for a long time.
Right, but where did that come from?
Pre-ARC.
Where did they come from?
Came from.
It was on.
He farmed it.
No. Regardless of who farmed it, who made the zoning?
Fulton County originally.
Fulton County originally. That is correct, right? So this is before it was a city itself, right?
City of South Fulton.
City of South Fulton, correct, not
Fairburn, not
Definitely
Fairburn.
not Fairburn.
No, we know.
But what we're saying here, guys, is that what they're comparing it to is the existing zoning. It has not looked at it from a future land use map aspect. All they're saying is it doesn't match the existing zoning, which is correct. That is why we're doing the rezoning. But from a future land use map standpoint, that has been changed to industrial.
Do you have a copy of that future land use map for us to see? As I understand
Future.
it, it's not done yet.
No, it's been done.
It's been done.
It's been done a long time.
It hasn't been presented to the public yet. Is that
No, it-
slated to happen next month?
No, not the overall comprehensive plan. We're talking about the future land use map designation specific to this property.
Okay.
Yeah, but were those future land use designations done through council amendments or whatever before this even took place?
It was a city initiated
Yeah,
change.
exactly. That's an error altogether by itself.
How so?
I mean, let's look at it from an ethical standpoint. You're in the middle of a land use rewrite, correct? And so council comes in and they do a resolution to benefit that property. That just doesn't look right. Let's just put it on the line, right? So if you're doing a rewrite right now, but whenever properties in development come up, to make this work, you go in and you do a resolution to change the zoning, to change the land use map so it will fit. And to another point that was made about the information that people use to make determinations on how they vote or whatever, there's always one component that's missing, which is very important, and that's the voice of the community. So if you're just going on disinformation and then state things like, we don't wanna get sued because we have to follow this or follow that. I mean, come on, give me a break.
I understand.
You
That's right.
represent the people, right?
Excuse
And
me?
if the people are saying this, that, and the other, it has to be considered.
I don't think we've gotten to this point without the people's voice being considered.
Well,
That's very true. I mean,
And to further that point, this is why we're here again tonight, right? We're here to listen, we're here to talk, we're here to engage. Under no circumstances are we saying, the heck with the people, like, otherwise, why would we be here, right? But I wanna make sure it's very clear about this point about the future land use map and the comprehensive plan in general. Comprehensive plans in general give the city the ability to make changes because it's a 5-year period when you look at a comprehensive plan, right? If you allow me to finish,
You spoke.
I allowed you to finish. Allow me to finish.
Kids here.
Excuse me?
No, go ahead.
No, so the point is this: the future, any comprehensive plan you see, pretty much anywhere in this country, has a future land use map component of it, right? And there are certain times where the character of an existing area does not match what the future land use designation states that it is. And the comprehensive plan and the future land use map allow for those changes to occur when what's being proposed is more aligned with the character than what is there today. That's just a fact. That's in the comprehensive plan. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do it. And it's all done in alignment with the zoning procedures law. Now, again, there is a situation where every 5 years there are wholesale lookbacks, wholesale changes that need to be made. And there's nothing in the comprehensive plan that says, once you start looking at it, you can't make changes. So I just want to make sure that's very clear.
Understood, but then here's the thing, with the comp plan, we all talk about the future land use plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
The future land use plan is just that. Anybody understand what future means? Right. Yeah, it's extended out, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is a plan in place that oftentimes get overlooked for the future land use plan to bring development in. And that's always been an argument. You went from Fulton County, and then you went to the city of South Fulton, and I think it's what, the 2021 comp plan or so forth, whatever the plan is in place right now. You know, that plan is often overlooked for the future. And so that's how development has really been going and getting passed under the radar, because it all comes down to say, it falls in line with the future land use plan. But the future land use plan is extended. But what about the plan that's in play right now?
Well, that would be the zoning code.
Right.
And the zoning code says one thing, right? And whatever the case might be, a lot of times you find yourself in a situation where the zoning is misaligned with market demand. And that's the situation we're in right now. So the zoning on that property is agricultural 1 right now, right? So you can't, there's a reason why the property has yet to be developed. Out of all the time it's been there, out of all the time it's been vacant and undeveloped, there's a reason for that. And what we're proposing, we're basically saying to you with this proposal, that what we're proposing is more aligned with market demand than what the current zoning is. That's all we're saying.
Thank you. Good looking out, sir. Does this seem fair to you if you were to try to put yourselves in the shoes of residents of Fairburn? The infrastructure, sewer, electrical, water. The city of South Fulton is not going to come from Oakley Industrial across or under the ground of Interstate 85 to supply the infrastructure for these warehouses. That's all going to be done, and my question is, do you want to have an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Fairburn to supply your development with these structures?
I'm about to say
yeah, that's what you said. We're going to get this man. He's here. He's going to answer the question. That's my question.
Yeah, so I can speak to the infrastructure. So as part of this, our due diligence with the whole development, we're not using any of City of Fairburn services. So if you guys are familiar with the utility bills that you get from City of South Fulton, you either get City of Atlanta water or Fulton County sewer is the services that provide water and sewer service to the site. So along between warehouse 200 and 300, there's actually a Fulton County sewer main that runs along that property boundary, and it crosses under 85. We've already had communications with Fulton County Sewer about our needs. As our presentation suggests, our demand in a warehouse setting is less than what you're going to see in a single-family neighborhood. Because you got to think about it, most of the warehouse is storage, right?
There's a lot of office, sorry.
Most of it is storage.
Most of it is storage.
And then from a water standpoint, your water, City of Atlanta does have a large main that's in Old Sonoya Road or Sonoya Road, and we've started already coordinating with the City of Atlanta to extend water service down Old Sonoya into our property, and then through our property to service the other 2 warehouses. So we've thought about the utility infrastructure.
Any electrical?
Well, electrical is, we're gonna coordinate. We already have will serve letters from Georgia Power that they will serve our development once it comes on board. So yeah, we have utility letters. We have Fulton County Health Department. We've reached out to the trash provider. We have trash letters. They said they'll service our site from a trash standpoint. AGL, from a gas standpoint, we have it all. So we've done our due diligence early on before we even took this route to make sure we had the utilities necessary and that they can support us for this development.
Thank you, brother.
Great question.
Can I have a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Just being here, it's my first meeting. It seems like everyone's not really into this, and I'm wondering,
What you mean?
like, y'all don't really like this, all right? Y'all don't know what y'all just go for it. But I'm wondering.
From the way we're getting these questions, I think it's pretty engaging.
But you guys are really pushing for it, so I'm wondering, how are you selling this to us? Like, how is it going to benefit us? Because we talk about like all these negative impacts on our property value. I didn't find a paper, but you know what? It's probably something out there.
Okay.
But and I'm really big about my money and my health, and this woman who lives next to the potential property. But I'm curious, so how is it going to benefit us? So are you going to make sure that people in Fairburn and South Fulton are prioritizing these jobs? Are you going to make sure you decrease our property values? Because it's going to, or our taxes, or how is this going to benefit us? Like, why should we?
Development actually helps increase your property value. Because what you end up happening right now, you just have woods that are there right now. You just got, it's just wood, right? And so.
Well, we agree. I agree.
The whole point.
The context of their comment is about the tax base.
What you guys aren't getting right now is, guys, from a tax increase standpoint, from an improvement standpoint, what we've heard is, oh, we want mixed use. We want grocery stores. We want more retail to where we can sit down, correct? And this is all things that we've heard here, right? And so, maybe not from you guys directly, but in these rooms, we've heard them, right? And so, that's a mixed bag by itself. And so it is important, if you're going to have that infrastructure, that's not just going to happen on its own. You have to have a developer that's ultimately going to put in the major amount of infrastructure that's required as far as along these roads, as far as the utilities, making sure that that actually increases this out parcel value. So you have these parcels here, guys, just a little insight. So all we're focusing on is the parcels that are in the city of South Fulton. These parcels that are hashed are in Fairburn. This zoning here is commercial. This zoning here is commercial. This is all commercial. Just like what's happening on the south side of Sonoya Road, you're starting to see a lot more retail that's happening, right? A lot more restaurants that's happening. And that's going to continue to grow. But that's going to get full pretty quickly. Then there's going to have to come back up here.
Fast food don't count.
Well, I said that's I mean, listen, you could not have anything, or it could continue to grow. It's important that it continues to progress. I'll take progress over anything. I don't know about you guys, but I would rather have progress. This right here is residential as well. And so, anybody familiar with the South Fulton CID?
You have to tell them what it is.
Oh, okay. The South Fulton CID is the Community Improvement District. It is the second oldest in the state. What essentially it is a self-taxing entity, right? So you have business owners that are joining in and basically saying, we're going to tax ourselves additional amount to be able to help with beautification in the area, to help with future infrastructure, to help with workforce transportation. To also help with future, just improvements overall. And so like this interchange improvement is a big part of what the CID has done. They were heavily involved in getting that move forward and designed the right way. And so from our project standpoint, we're actually going to be within that CID, and I think I shared that information around, thank you. So the South Fulton CID, you can see it, and then you can also see the letter to where they have said, no, if this development comes in, we would be able to include it in the expansion of the area, which the surrounding area is South Fulton, it is Fairburn, it is Union City, it is Palmetto. And so that is something that we want to be a part of, because that is helpful for the employees that are in this warehouse, as well as the future growth of that area and those out parcels and what happens. And so, and crime as well. And so all of those things are helpful as far as being within that South Fulton CID.
Wait, what about crime? Sorry.
The South Fulton CID helps with crime.
Okay.
Mitigating it.
And I think it's important to discuss it at this point. We've heard and we've talked a number of times about the need for additional recreational facilities in District 7 in this immediate area. And with the addition between 1,000 and 2,000 jobs, means addition of 1,000 to 2,000 families, which means addition of 1,000 to 2,000 families potentially with kids. And with there not being any parks or recreational facilities in this area, the developer is committed and has put a condition, proposed a condition as a part of the rezoning request to contribute a significant amount of money, and he can speak to that, to development of a park, or to remediation of a park, or to the acquisition of land to build a park in the immediate area to sort of ameliorate some of those concerns. So I just want to make sure it's very clear that we're not just here saying, oh, this project is going to do this project is going to do that. We're going to put our money where our mouth is and make sure that we do take steps forward to ensuring that those types of things come as a result of this project.
Thank you. And so, I know we're kind of bouncing around, and again, I apologize because I got here late, so that's my fault. I'll take responsibility for that. But from a benefit standpoint, it's all kind of laid out, right? So the capital investment by itself is a big one. The number of jobs, the amount of tax revenue, doing additional improvements on top of what is already being done. So Spence right now, what we've heard is that you have traffic that's coming from, you have some trucks that are coming from Oakland and they're coming up Spence. And then they have no place as far as being able to turn around at all right now. And so they're going all the way up, they're hitting that low overpass, that's right there, you know, where the rail is and where the high school is.
Yeah.
And then they have to try to turn around and good luck at that.
They actually,
There's a truck route, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right, they're all over the neighborhood.
Right, where they shouldn't be, ultimately. And there's no place, but the problem is there's no place for them to even turn around. There's not even any type of signage at all. And so with this improvement, this realignment that we have to do here on Spence Road, adding these decel lanes as far as into this site, left turn lanes in, same going south. What this adds right now is a place to where we can add signage, guys. Here it basically says, you know, no trucks beyond this point. Just anything versus nothing right now. It is nothing there right now. I understand.
But there's signage, but there's no place to effectuate it. There's no place for them to turn around.
So if you even if you have the signage, if you have no place to turn around, what does it matter?
Right.
So at least now they'll be able to turn into this site and can turn back around same way here. But they can't do it right now. They would just continue to go straight.
And they will still continue.
At least there's a place for them to go.
Would you
Yes,
describe
sir.
the traffic flow that, as it pertains to the exit that we were just talking about on Spence Road? If I'm remembering correctly, that the traffic flow from the facility would be meant to go like southeast.
Towards Oakland.
So could you just sort of describe on the map what that would look like with the traffic circulating?
Yeah, because we're just kind of bouncing around, so. There you
I'm
go.
not sure that people understand that that's on this side and not that side. Not on the second floor.
All right. So guys,
Does everyone see where we are on this map?
we're over here, guys. Can anybody see can you see my mouse? Maybe. So the site's on the other side of 85. Okay, and so from a ingress aspect, we're talking about going off of 85. They're going to come into the site off of Old Sonoya, come in. There's a loop road that comes around. It will come down on Spence. When it come make a right onto Oakley, come back around and back onto the interstate. That is the easiest and fastest and less impact from a traffic standpoint that I've ever seen, and that's because we're so close to the interstate. That's a benefit.
You see that warehouse right there?
Which one?
That one, the one, once you cross over, right there, that one,
Yeah,
that one.
this
You
one.
see that one right there?
Yeah.
When you're coming and you cross over the interstate, and there's a warehouse there, what happens is they have on-time delivery or on-time pickup, and you have tractor trailer trucks lined down the road, out of the turn lane and on the lane, so you have to cross over the other lane. But anyway, that's a pinch point where more traffic is not going, and you know, we got all kinds of signs. Do not litter, speed limit. You got a sign, you know. But anyway, sign, everywhere, sign. But the point is you don't live in this area and you don't know or feel or are impacted by what is already there, and that what you're creating is even worse conditions.
And
there are some things that are more important than money. The forest, to go in the woods, is therapeutic, and it does the body good. Not only does it breathe, but the woods supply us. We need to be reconnected. Go touch some grass, brother.
Did you walk on this property?
I went on the property and followed. I followed the what do they call the skids that was cutting through there.
Yeah.
And I thought that was your little BMW 3 that had the edges on there. But whoever it was, I couldn't find anybody. I wanted to stop and talk to the surveyors, but I know they were just doing their job. But when I saw the
have
skids,
permission to be there.
when they was cutting through there, I had permission to be there because there was no sign saying
Because it's green.
There was no sign saying no trespassing.
But we put a sign in,
doesn't matter.
Signage don't matter, right? Signage doesn't matter though, does it?
Oh, no signs matter,
Oh,
but people
okay,
don't.
all right, I
But
got
did
you.
you have a sign? Did you have a sign?
It wouldn't matter though. would
No,
it?
no.
Let's
It
get back-
matters a lot,
Let's
and
get
you
back on
only
track.
had one side to notify the public about this
Let's
development.
get it, I appreciate that, that was good, man. But I do wanna get back to the buffer aspect, because that was a question that, was asked. And so, because essentially the seller owns these parcels as well, which are zoned
How many
residential, there is
parcels
nothing
for?
on there. And from a distance standpoint, you have 322 yards of trees from here to the house. That's 3 football field lengths of buffer from this house.
Go to the other side,
No, let's, I just wanna make sure this part,
go to the other side of the road.
we will get there. Right now, from this aspect, is there any questions about this portion? Yes,
not
ma'am.
specifically. Well, two-part question.
Mhm.
So the areas that are grayed out, that are Fairburn or residential, which is not part of this project we're talking about, I do
Mhm.
understand that. Are those also being purchased by the developer for future opportunities?
No,
Those will be, continue to be owned by MAPCO Farms?
yes,
Okay.
as
With-
of right now, yeah.
With this, are there future plans for purchasing that from you guys as a developer?
I know, not from us, I know that there is interest from a retailer for this out parcel here. I do know that for certain, yes.
Okay.
But that's, yeah, go ahead.
With the blue line of distance from residential, my house is on the other side of the blue line
Mhm.
and closer to the property. So I guess my curiosity would just be where,
The other side, what you mean the other side of the blue line?
I'm just in front of that little pond on the Valley Brook side.
Here,
Slide finger.
here,
Down towards the gray box in the middle. To the right, and down slowly.
right here, is
That
what
is
you're
my
saying.
house.
Your house is here.
Closer, I'm just curious.
You can't be on this parcel, so we
No,
know
I'm
that.
just on, I'm
Okay.
just on the edge of that.
So
parcel.
let's,
I'm just curious where the math is there.
let's just
versus-
take away 100 yards. So now we're talking about 2 football fields versus 3. It's still a pretty significant distance.
I'm just.
But that's, I understand that, but from this home here, it's just 322 yards. I just want to, like, it's a lot of land and distance of just trees. But even if you reduced it down another 100 yards, that's still a long distance to where you're not seeing anything.
I understand, I'm just wanting.
No, I appreciate you doing that, though.
It's not just trees, brother, and it's Mother Nature.
That too.
Do you have
So move-
contact information for the MAPCO Farms? Because she has not been able to contact the owner of those properties.
That is not my responsibility.
I'm just
to do
asking, I wasn't accusing you. I'm
No,
just
no,
asking if
it's
you
not an
happen-
accusation, I'm just saying it's not my responsibility.
If you happen to have their contact information,
Mhm.
she would appreciate that.
Okay, sorry. And so from a distance, as far as this residential to this, as far as this green space, we're talking about 189 yards. So we're still talking 2 football lengths.
Is this you right here?
No, I'm over on the other side of Spence
She's on the
Road.
other side.
Yes. All of that property on the other side of Spence Road, all the way back to Federal Road is me.
Yep, there you go.
This your house here?
And-
Right here?
Yes.
This one?
This one?
No, that one is my dad, and the, other one is myself, yes.
This one?
Yes, yes.
So
So
from,
all that property is basically mine.
yeah, so this home of green space here is 181 yards.
Right, you see right there where your property goes at that corner, that's where his garden is, all the way back. And actually, when they came and surveyed that property, they encroached on our property,
Mhm.
but told us we had no right to say anything. So, anyway,
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
well, they did.
Okay.
I'm pretty,
But I'm just saying, from a distance standpoint, we're talking about from the house itself.
it's not that far. It looks like it is, but his driveway is actually right along that line.
The house, there is another parcel that's in between us, is it not?
It's not, it's a very, very slight, not,
I mean,
my
this is
dad's,
right, yeah.
that corner parcel is not as big as it looks like right there.
Well, that's just
Just
what
do
the
the
dimensions
dimensions.
are. I mean,
Right.
we're not
Okay.
inflating anything.
So no, all right, so actually, when you come out like right there and you are right there where his garden is, you are connected to probably this close.
Yeah, because
Your
that's where
private property.
your property line, this is
Yes.
the
Yes.
owner's property line.
Yes, yes,
So
and
that-
you're talking about putting the, Marta station right there where that corner parcel is?
No.
That's what I was told at the council meeting.
No, man.
But also, just for
Marta bus-
clarification for all of y'all that do not know, over here is where the entrance to the, 85 is. This is Spence Road, which is where they're talking about putting this on both sides. This is Oakley Industrial right down in here.
Down here.
Yeah, right down in here. This is
Down.
y'all's,
Down here.
the Renaissance, yes. So, you know, they keep saying all of this right here and this new whatever that they're doing is gonna take the impact of this. Don't be fooled. Do not be fooled, do not be fooled.
So let's get back to, ma'am,
So what are you
ma'am.
gonna do?
Please respect that. Thank you.
Can you respect me by responding?
Can you please sit there, please? Thank you. Now, to answer your question about the MARTA bus stop, it is not over here, it's all the way over here.
Okay.
All the way over here. Now, the distance that we did talk about from the home itself
Yes.
is still 180 yards away. The home itself is 180 yards. Your house is even further. And so you're still talking about 2 football lengths of buffer, guys, of just trees. I'm not considering to the building. We're not even talking about that. That's 800 feet. It's a pretty significant buffer. And I do want to make sure that you guys aren't thinking that necessarily, because other examples of this would be where Palmetto is, and those 3 1 million square footers are right off of 29, and you have the residential that's immediately next to it, and then that happens to be also city of South Fulton, and those warehouses and the dock doors were built right next to those homes. That's not the same consideration that we're talking about here.
I just wanted
Yes.
to clarify that 80 feet, if we're talking sports distances, is the length of a short pool, not a football field. So just to clarify, 80 feet is.
We never said 80 feet. We said 800
Said
feet.
800.
Okay. I
800.
heard 80, so I just wanted to clarify.
800. Now, it's easier to be able to say 181 yards because people understand football less.
Unless we're talking pool and.
Yeah, but we're talking about
mistaken.
pool.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Can you clarify how much of that buffer is not on the adjacent property owner's property? In other words, how much of that buffer will you own?
How much of the buffer will we own? Good bit.
So 800-foot buffer total, but how much is on your property?
Two of those long sort of rectangular slabs are separate parcels that are zoned residential.
Just not halfway almost.
And they're,
Yeah.
they're not interested in those, but somebody's gonna be. You know, so whatever goes in there is gonna diminish the buffer that we're talking about anyway. Or it'll create a solid.
If we're talking about somebody in the future buying these parcels.
Yeah.
They're not here right now, right? What we're talking about right now is what is the impact on those that are here right now? And it's a pretty good distance between that. And then if there is anything else, these are zone residential. And that's in Fairburn. You guys have full power to be able to make sure that that does not change in any way. Even if it was zone industrial, you're not gonna get much of anything on here. But that's not gonna happen. Fairburn's not gonna agree to that.
So outside of the bounds here of the plat for the site, those other parcels and everything all the way to Valley Brook is Fairburn and not South Fulton?
That's correct.
Okay. got
Yes.
it.
And
This is all Fairburn.
So who would want to put residential in and be like Palmetto up against some warehouse?
The good thing is additional buffer there.
Okay, but I don't know how long you've been here, Mr. Bowley. You said 15 years, but do you recall about 20 years ago, I-20 was the boundary for development. Everything was on the north side. And you sort of get it. You want to be the first to use the river and let everything flow south. But then everything's built out just about. And then the attention was turned south on the other side of I-20. And I understand opportunities here and that you have your plans on how to develop and this term, not in my backyard, But please try to understand what is wrong with trying to preserve and have a paradise where you're surrounded by no matter where you go.
Sir,
not just Atlanta,
all of
Georgia.
this is
Go to
built out.
Philadelphia, New
You're
York,
just
Miami.
at this
the
point,
same
you're
thing.
over-talking.
Warehouses,
Sir,
gas
sir,
stations,
sir.
stop and go.
All of
banks,
this
it's the
is
same
filled
thing.
out. All of this, if you look on this map, all of this is filled out. Why is that?
Well, the better question.
Because the public
I'm
found out
gonna talk
after
to-
the fact.
No. Nobody's sneaking anything in here. You guys want to allow that, not for 20 years, right? You've been.
Yeah.
So why has all of this been built out? Why is all of this residential here? Why do you have this CSX here and these landfills and you have this retail? Why? How is all of this being
You know
populated?
we got a dump too.
How is all of
You know
that?
about the dump,
Yeah, we
right?
know about it.
You know what? We jumped up and down about the dump, but guess what? They
What?
put the dump in anyway.
Who did? Fairburn?
Yeah.
That's your city. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It wasn't the city of South Fulton at the time.
No, it's not City of South Florida now.
No, it's not.
All right. So from a standpoint of what we're getting to, guys, is like, this is being infilled because you have population growth that is happening. People are expanding further and further from the center of those metros. Because one, it's obviously more affordable, but then also you can get more land if that's what you chose to do. And so with that, you're going to have more jobs that are created more in these suburban centers that are happening. You're going to have more growth. You're going to have more development. That is a natural thing to happen. And then with all of that development, actually your property value increases, and so does your taxes as well. So if anything, from a disadvantage standpoint, that's where that might tie as far as your property value.
What about
Go
the
ahead.
cycle of economic, the way the economy goes when everything's lovely and rosy right now, but then bam, when we hit a slump, your property, what we went through in 2008, you know what we've been through, if anybody's got any age under the belt, what we've gone through with the cycle of the economy. It's not always peaking out and everything's good.
Do you think we're at a peak right now?
We're at a peak.
You think
I don't know what to think.
I
don't
can
know what to think.
Because of
I can tell you that we are
another.
not in a peak.
Yeah.
But industrial is still in demand. And that's because of you all.
This
Can we
gentleman here
change
had a
the
question.
subject to roads?
Yes, sir. What
Okay.
question you have?
We got a couple of little lines up there at the right, upper right-hand corner there. Yeah, right there.
What is that?
That's an easement or that's a road, what y'all gonna do with that?
Just for cars, no truck access.
You sure of that?
No, we're very sure of that.
Okay,
That
so
is
the
no.
question I have.
Yes, sir.
To everybody in this room, who has traveled on 74 highway and 92 highway before 85 came across? Anybody? Or am I the only one down here? You know, before your time short one.
Probably not.
But I actually drove across 92 and 74, and I watched the construction of 85 come in. Now, if I was, and I did have a chance to work that land and try to convince the family to do something with that land about 15 years ago. But I realized it was a losing battle because all that family members wanted was money. So you two characters up there are doing your job and everybody's supporting you. If I was wanting to get this thing done, you've done a damn good job. But in 65, when that road came through, I was telling the people in the community, we need to make a loop around Fairburn. We need to make a bypass around Fairburn because we had a tremendous amount of open land. And if somebody put a 4-lane circle Fairburn, all this that's going on today would never had to be because we could stay residential inside the circle, commercial outside the circle. It'd been a perfect world. But nobody wanted to listen to a hippie back then. And right now, I'm a hippie still, and I don't give a damn we listen to me or not.
No,
I will
definitely
have
listening.
my piece to say, and then I got one more piece to say to the South Fulton city. There was tension between South Fulton, the people who governed South Fulton before there was a city, the city of Fairburn, the city of Palmetto, Union City, and the other communities around. And I was there during that era of tension. And as the leaders of those areas around and the Fulton County itself started disappearing and new people started coming in, I was hoping that the city of South Fulton would come in and settle some of these old scores and start a whole new slate for everybody. But it seems like, this little chunk of land, oh, heck yeah, we're gonna get this land, we're gonna show them what we can do with this land. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I might not be alive tomorrow. So you go do what you need to do, and you gotta live with it, because I live with the fact that what I saw in '65 and the few years around that has come to fruition. I saw all the development. You say, oh yeah, we're gonna have these nice, roads big enough to handle the traffic. Baloney. I remember when it was a 2-lane road, I drove my dump truck load down with gravel and watched the thing. I go, I wish I had a bigger truck so I could get that job. So things will change. Things will change. So don't be, do something that maybe won't change. I don't know what it is, but it's your, but
It
your
will
turn.
always, sorry, it will always change.
No.
We're always evolving. There's always,
No, but
there's
there
always
are-
changes
yeah, always
that happen
change.
every
The
so
thing
often.
is, there are some things can be done that can change and not change.
Preservation, conservation.
And in Europe, where the houses and buildings are about a century or 2 centuries old, it's done. Streets are narrow as heck, and you drive around them. But they done it. So now it's time for you folks to do it. I'm gonna go back to my land, grow my vegetables, and y'all fight it out.
Okay, all right.
Yes, ma'am. You had a question to that?
Well, my issue is, I hear the jobs, I hear the beautification of the area and stuff, but what about all the trucks? Like, we already have a lot of trucks, and I get up early in the morning, and sometimes the US food, which is like literally right across from where I stay, sometimes it can take me 15, 20 minutes to even get on the highway. And not even including the trucks that are coming from where a racetrack is. So like, and then even in the afternoon when I get home, it takes me 30 minutes to get off this expressway. And I no longer make the left because that's where all the trucks are going. They go to that first light and you can spend 40 minutes at that light. So I usually go to the right, but now y'all talking about y'all developing stuff that way. So now that's gonna clog up all that coming back, cause I come back around and avoid that light.
And you're kind of, and what you're saying is all valid, but that is the reason why the interchange is being improved. That's a big reason why it's being improved. Now, it's not done right now, so and it's under construction. So it's gonna be even worse.
So are y'all gonna
until it's
widen
done.
the road or something? Or
Say that
like,
again?
are y'all gonna, one, stop those trucks coming out of that truck and parking, making that left turn where they put those yellow bars at? Like, I don't know why they
You're
should
talking about the
make them
Fairburn
go
parking
right.
lot?
What is that, Oakley?
Right there in Oakley, when you make the turn,
Right across
Sonora
from
Road.
where McDonald's is, they put those yellow bars because they built those apartments right there. And now they're coming out of the parking thing and they make that left, and that's the issue on its own. I feel like they should just go right and go straight down and go to Jonesboro. You know what I'm saying?
There's a need for parking for the trailers as of right now. It's exacerbated as far as the demand. Unfortunately, certain cities like City of South Oakland does not allow you to be able to have truck parking as a principal use. So you can't even develop what's needed to be able to help alleviate that. But that's what's needed.
So what about all the parking on the expressway? I see it said, like they say, they don't pay attention to the sign. It clearly says no truck parking.
This is the
I
reason.
think I've only seen one cop up there that, it's a lady. I saw a lady up there one morning. Like I said, I get up early in the morning, so I see it a lot. And it's an issue. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. Like
I can't answer all other questions about what the existing industrial area is causing. I can't.
But that's what I'm saying.
But
It's just
let me
adding
allow
more.
me to be able to finish, please. On our site by itself, it has additional parking. That's the reason why we put that on there. It's so that our tenants have places to be able to park. You got, essentially 92 trailers here. You got 102 trailers here. You got 70 trailers here, 89 here. Like you have the additional parking there, but the older industrial doesn't always have that additional trailer parking. And so yes, that
Are you
is.
not gonna charge them?
They pay rent.
it's in-
Because I think that's some of the issue of why they stay on the street. Like I stay in Renaissance, again, I work early in the morning, they park right in front of the Citgo. I can't see the people coming through the light because they're parked right there. I have to come out so far to even see around the trucks that are parked right there. So, I mean, I'm just saying.
I don't know why
get
they
it.
put Renaissance off on Oakley, right next to all of the warehouses.
It came first.
I don't know, the industrial did.
Yeah, it came first.
The industrial came first, right?
No.
Oh,
Renaissance is
came
not-
first.
Renaissance was on 92,
Yeah,
and
we
then it
the
moved over
new
to
side.
the other
They
one.
just added to it.
We talking about this side on this side of
On
the
behind the
By
Citgo.
Shell gas
I think Shell, I don't know why I said Citgo. What's Citgo? I'm sorry, yeah. I don't know.
She had me confused for a second.
I'm over here. Oh, I don't got Wi-Fi. Are we talking about the same? Was she talking about a different location?
She was talking about the.
She meant the Shell gas station, Shell gas station.
Shell gas station.
Yeah.
Oakley and,
Spence. Spence.
where, Spencer, yeah, right there.
Spencer.
Cause
Yeah.
on the other side you have US Foods, and then on Spencer you already have, a warehouse of, I don't know what they are, but I see them too in the morning, and they did have a turnaround. Whoever owns that building, they put bars up, so now they can't go in there. Cause it wasn't always like that, but now they put those bars where they can't go in there, so now they don't have nowhere to go. That's what he's talking about, they be lined up on the street now, because they can't get into the place because they don't have, I don't know if they have a gate or something right there, I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's why I asked about the flow of traffic.
Right.
And so, you know, the way, if y'all recall, it would be coming down out from between the two main warehouses down Oakley, or sorry, down Spence Road, which is over this way.
Right.
And then down and connecting with Oakley and flowing right into that same traffic pattern on
Right.
to 74.
Everything leaving the site.
Yeah,
Goes through there.
and so I was wondering, and I thought Mr. Sharko maybe was gonna ask when he started talking about roads, if there isn't, and I know you have a plan, you have a lot invested in a certain plan, but would it be possible to alter the route by building a driveway type road situation that goes along the 85 side of the property and directs the traffic back to 85 that way instead of down Spence Road and through Oakley around Renaissance and back up into the area she's talking about? And I know, you know, you're talking about building a road.
I'm not exactly sure.
I'm not sure I follow that.
Yeah, like if you were to make your,
Up here, sir.
so instead of coming out down here and circulating down this way around Renaissance and back up Oakley to 74.
Don't go down to Oakley Industrial.
Yeah, what if instead of that, your access flowed this way?
So you flow this way
Yeah.
to where?
Well, back out to 85, somewhere that makes sense. I don't know what that intersection is.
Sorry. Planner, can you answer his question?
Yeah, you can't buy a red light.
Listen.
DOT will not sell you a red light because you would need a red light back where everybody comes from Fairburn.
I like it.
And the church
Yes.
up there.
Yes, that's the reason
That's the reason
why.
why. You have that interchange of our church, you would have to put a red light
I would
there.
love to just have that solution. That would be nice. But then we wouldn't have this development that's over here as well. And all these improvements that are needed along Spence. We can't do any of the improvements along Spence. Like that is the
You can
biggest.
tunnel underneath the 92 highway there, that's enough
said
elevation
tunnel?
there. You tunnel underneath and not go over.
Actually, let me clarify, in a city of Fairburn master plan called an LCI plan, there's actually a concept to reroute traffic off of 92 along the edge of your property over to Sonoy Road as a truck route in order to, yes, exactly, through there.
To come back here.
And yes, improve intersections,
So
improve
right-
routing. You'd be turning right to continue. It wouldn't be a left turn to 85.
So you'll be turning right, and then the trucks will ultimately want to hit a U-turn to come back
If they're
down
going
to the
85,
interchange.
But the point was a bypass route for downtown Fairburn, because what happens is trucks go through downtown Fairburn. I'm not talking about your development
Okay.
specifically. Generally, truck flow continues into and through downtown Fairburn on 92. 92 is a state route, so you can't
Right.
prohibit trucks. right?
I'm just,
So the
I'm
concept-
trying to mitigate it, right? I feel like if there's no type of improvements that are done along Spence, it's just gonna continue to happen.
Well, you wouldn't be allowed to develop because Greta said you must do improvements on Spence. That's a part of the condition. So-
Well, no, what I'm saying is ultimately that improvement does help mitigate the traffic that's coming here to provide an area for those trucks to be able to go to. Right now, they have no place to go.
So they're gonna.
They have
pull-
to keep driving on
Right.
up.
So they're gonna pull all the way into your parking lot and make turnarounds around your building? and come back
You can
out?
pull in, you can back up, yes.
It don't work that way.
Yeah, that
What
doesn't
doesn't
look like
work
it's
that way?
really designed for truck turnaround.
Okay,
Well, I think you're looking
okay,
at it right there.
okay, on 92 highway, before you
Yeah.
get to 85, you got 2 warehouses down in the hole and 1 vacant spot. To get the trucks, if they're wrong, to go down into there, they had to put a barrier up to make sure the trucks would go only to the truck area. And if you miss to turn off and deliver there, and you hit the bridge, there's nowhere to go. And what I have seen, and I've pulled a rig before, is that very few places around to where you have enough room to pull off the road, to make a loop, and get yourself back and head the other direction. And, okay, now, in my yard, across the street from my house, not for a tractor trailer truck.
Yeah.
But for my small trucks and trailers, I got a place drivable like that, and I've had too many people come, cars, and even tractor trailer trucks come through. They somehow they found me, and we turned around and watched them, and they had not knocked the telephone.
Listen to the solution. What if it was a roundabout here?
Put the roundabout at
Big
the
one.
at the end of your property line.
Can the truck go?
Yeah, roundabout.
Yeah, put a roundabout there.
Real big roundabout.
Put a big roundabout.
I'm just trying to say as expensive as.
That would be
I don't
better.
That
know
would
what.
be cheapest, no red light, and while you're down there grading, you can grade down for it. Also, you got a problem with that piece of land, people going south, because everybody's going up a hill to the left.
The grading is extremely tough. I'm telling you right now, what I'm suggesting is not a small check, guys.
I know, but the thing
But I
about
do want you to understand this, is that I understand what the issue is, and I'm trying to solve the problem. I don't wanna continue to just belabor the problem, I wanna try to solve the problem. And so, that is a potential way of solving the problem. My question to you guys is, if that solves the problem, are you guys supportive of the development? Exactly, there you go.
But
But it was a valid solution.
To the point of process, here's a question. On July 22nd, motion was made, seconded, to approve the rezoning with the conditions proposed or required by the DRI, which is still a little unclear exactly what those conditions were, but that motion failed by a vote of 2 to 5. So the rezoning was not approved. Understanding there's process. At the next meeting, the intent was for a motion to deny to be made and voted upon. To clarify. But instead, the motion that was made was to defer, and that was approved. 60-day deferral to allow changes. So my question is, what's changed?
Well, that's why we're talking to you.
That's why we're talking.
You haven't made any changes yet.
We're talking to you to make sure we understand exactly what's wanted that we can achieve.
We
That's
can't,
part of the process.
we can't make the changes just on our own.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we could, but then you guys would be like, I don't like that, right? And so while we're doing this is to make sure that we have alignment in what changes make sense.
So then what's the next step after this meeting?
Well, we have to first figure out whether or not there's any changes that can be made. So let's stay focused on that. But going back to the first thing about the timing and the aerial. So this is CSX intermodal. Is everybody familiar with that CSX intermodal? You guys realize like this is probably one of the busiest intermodals in the state of Georgia?
Well,
So
let
from
me
an-
just say
Go ahead.
that was heavily voted against by the locals
But it's
back
there.
in the day.
It's
But
there.
it's there because.
It's there. But I'm just saying from a standpoint of what's there. And so it's there, and so you already have existing freight that is coming off of that intermodal, coming on the 29 and coming down Fairburn Industrial to the interstate. Correct. That's always been in that direction. And so right now, what's happening, guys, is that's existing traffic that's already there. You have the warehouses, and this is going back to 2002. So you don't even see a Renaissance here. You see some warehouses here. You got some residents here that's back here. And the US Foods. You still have Oakley Industrial.
Look how much
That's
green
along
there
here.
used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then look what us humans do as consumers. And needing a place to live, and needing a place to eat, and needing a place to work. This continues to get developed out, guys.
Hodgepodge development.
I mean,
creating problems.
All I'm saying is ultimately this is all, what we're doing right now is filling in what has already been filled in all around it. All around it.
Gotcha. If
Now,
we can get back to the roads right here that Tony brought out in this picture that goes, it looks like it's going and then there's a dead end. Does that go to Union City or does that go to 138? Does that go? Yeah, right there. What? That looks like a 4-lane. That looks like a nice wide road.
No, it's just vehicular access, car access.
That's what?
Just car access.
Car access.
It's trees on the
Can
side.
you, can you?
DOT will not allow the trucks to go on it.
From what point are the cars accessing your property?
Bethel Road.
Yeah, that's
Bethel
it.
Road.
Fayetteville Road?
Yeah.
And it's going across the backside of our property.
By the Purina plant.
I think this is
gotcha.
This is a different ownership here.
Yeah, but it's right by our property. And the trucks are coming.
I know this is a different property. I think you guys extend all the way over here.
Yes.
There's another
I'm familiar with
railroad
parcel.
yard. There's another CSX yard over there.
Is another, more
Where
industrial?
your road goes to
Yes.
to the Purina plant,
Purina plant.
there's another CSX yard there.
In Union
Okay.
City.
Small one, but there's one there.
Okay, that adds to the industrial area. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I'm listening to you and, and everyone else. And what I fail to understand is that in an age of climate change, why any city would want this project. We read the ARC report, their DRI. They recommend, they look at this area as suburban too. They do not recommend they give you a lot of things, but they do not recommend you treat the land this way. In fact, they encourage you to keep the canopy, to do preservation. So I don't know why you think this is a good idea.
We have already shrunk our size of the imprint down about 300,000 square feet from the DRI when it was initially submitted to make sure that we weren't impacting streams and buffers as much as possible.
Is that because the Department of Army engineers said that you were gonna have to do something because of the streams and the?
Well, everything costs money as far as the
Yeah, but I mean, you changed that at the meeting, you changed that because the printing material showed that the US Army of Engineers said, hey, you got to do something about these streams. And you said, we're gonna cut our project back so we don't have to deal with the streams.
That whole kind of context, I'm not sure exactly where you're getting at all of that from, but what we're saying from a standpoint of, that's what they're suggesting, and we said, yeah. But ultimately, from a standpoint of, here's the overall plan that was submitted for the DRI. These buildings were a lot bigger. And we ended up shrinking them. So, yeah. Can't do that.
Bring them on out to Coweta County.
Yeah.
You gonna come out there and help us argue?
Or
that case?
Union City.
Go to Coweta County. Come on.
What's the difference in impervious surface with respect? The buildings are smaller, but I don't see that much difference in the parking area.
You had a place for employee parking too, did you not?
Employee parking is here, it's here, it's here, it's here, and it's here. I guess here's the actual plan. So there was a reduction. So if you shrink the square footage of the overall building, everything else comes in and contracts in.
Does this plan have less parking? Or does the plan now have?
The building just shrunk.
The building shrunk.
The building square feet, so everything else shrinks in with it, away from the stream.
So the parking shrunk as well.
And all of the runoff presumably from the parking is going into those, retention ponds, remediation ponds, whatever they may be.
Yeah.
Correct. Is that correct?
Antonio can talk on that.
Building 3, in relation to a football field, how big is building 3?
It's about 160,000 square feet, so 3 football fields.
3 football
As far as
fields.
square footage.
Okay, you say that little road there is an auto road. You're on the other side of the wetlands area. You're gonna have to build a bridge to get across.
To get across it.
So,
Correct.
erase the bridge, erase that warehouse, build the kids a place to play, and build the 2 warehouses, and it ain't the best idea, but it might float.
Well, it's either that or the roundabout.
Well, I heard that and
Exactly. Yeah, what is cheaper, the roundabout or the football field?
Stacking up positives and you'll convince people.
It sounds great, but unfortunately, it has to get to a point to where it's economically feasible.
Does the traffic studies, does that address seasonal traffic patterns such as the Renaissance Festival, which basically shuts down, the Sonoy Road stuff? Like, I don't go that way, I don't use that interstate exit during Renaissance Festival times. That is a moneymaker for the broader community of various towns around here, so I'm just curious if it was
How often
a
is that
seasonal
festival?
approach.
Twice a year now.
For how long?
6 weeks, 8 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 weeks?
Yeah.
8 weeks,
Like
yeah,
just run
6
like a-
weeks in the spring and it's like 4 weeks now in the fall.
And so from a traffic standpoint, does it not take into account
No,
peak?
so, as far as the traffic standpoint, it takes account for peak hours, and it has to be done while school's in session. So you can't do it during any winter breaks, where you have those peaks, and traffic flows for shopping and stuff like that. So it basically is looking at what your average and your year-round traffic is gonna be during those,
Yeah, that's a little problematic though, when you do have seasonal, economics in an area. When you have visitors drawn from outside of this region to go to the festival, and that's an area where, when you're talking about the old Sonoy Road and then curving back around, I in a mini SUV can't even turn left. How is a truck gonna turn left during those months of outside visitors coming to the area?
Do you know when the traffic counts were taken?
they were taken, I wanna say it was October of 2024.
So that's not Spring Renaissance Festival. When is Fall Renaissance
It
Festival?
started September and
September.
I don't know if it goes into October or not, but it started last weekend.
It's 6 weeks.
Yes, but, yeah, it's just beginning. Last year, I think, was its first year, am I right? So it would not have impacted as much as it will in the future.
And guys, really quickly, because our lead consultant has to go, but I do, from a lead construction standpoint, that was a concern, and as far as sustainability, that we are incorporating for this, and so this will be LEED certified. Is there any questions specifically as to what that means from a LEED
Yeah.
certified?
Which level
Yeah,
of
what
LEED
level?
certification?
So we're
There's
targeting,
various levels.
we're targeting LEED Silver, which
Okay.
is the second, certification level in LEED. So that's for warehouse, that's a pretty good level.
And actually going through the entire process to get the
Process.
certification?
Yeah, we're not just gonna say we're targeting LEED, we're gonna actually go through the process and obtain LEED certification.
What does that amount to for a warehouse? My ideas of understanding of, LEED is more residential related. So what about the warehouse besides a white roof, is, sustainable?
So, LEED is broken down into the 5 different categories, so we look at sustainable sites, so how the water is being, captured and handled on site is a big component. White roof is just kind of one of the components. Energy efficiency is another component. Water consumption, the materials that we use is another component. So we're gonna look at the whole system to make sure, when we build a building, it's the most energy efficient, the most sustainable building, and the least amount on the environment.
Except not most and least, because you're only going for silver.
I mean,
The least amount of that category.
Like, what would it take to take it up to the next category? Would it take ensuring that the structure could handle rooftop farms or
So rooftop farms
things
is
like that.
one.
So I can tell you guys, we're not gonna do any type of rooftop farms because that creates potential leaks, and then we're gonna have an empty building with a nice, vegetation.
Well, you gotta water down for the
So
hydroponics.
from that standpoint, that's not something we're gonna entertain, but go ahead.
To get higher on the scale, we look at more energy efficiency, building envelope, windows, things of that nature. HVAC systems, lighting is huge on a warehouse, the type of lighting and the controls of the lighting, controls of the HVAC system will help us get from silver to gold.
Well, solar panels would not weigh down the building very much. What about that's a whole lot of square footage where you could put solar and feed it into your buildings. And
From a
feed
steel
your-
standpoint, we would go ahead and we can have it beefed up for solar panels, but not all tenants like solar panels. So again, we wanna make sure that that doesn't deter them from that.
So you have-
I think everybody thinks that, everybody wants solar, that is not the case, at all.
But I think just as a projection, if we were to build, if you were to build the buildings adequately to support
From a
solar
steel.
as an eventuality,
Yeah.
that would be a real
It provides the
positive.
infrastructure for the future if that is something that tenant wants.
In solar panels, the way they're manufactured now, they don't weigh down the roof like they used to in the past. So from a roof pounds per square footage is not that much to kind of increase the roof to accommodate the solar panels.
Yeah.
So we can definitely look at something
Yeah,
like that.
and then EV charging stations, obviously, that is, definitely more of a demand aspect, and at least making sure that we have the conduits in there for the charging station.
Which is cool, but I think the solar generation factor is something that I think would really mitigate the environmental impact that we're all very concerned about. Because it's great to have, electric vehicle charging stations, but unless you're getting that from somewhere off of the grid, we're just consuming more Georgia Power's dirty energy. And so I see.
So charging stations that have solar.
Yeah, and I'm looking at all of that, 1.3 million square footage of roof and going, wow, this is a great opportunity for an innovative construction that's gonna bring something to the community that is not just a big dead roof.
I think it's important that we also provide the jobs and economic development that ultimately is the end goal as well, right? For individuals that are living here and trying to provide for their family.
Do you foresee
so
any
that's the-
competition with the empty warehouses that are currently on the south side?
So to that point, so just to understand, if you guys kind of can see here, these are all of the Class A warehouses that are essentially from like 400,000 square feet up to 1.2 million square feet. And this is from like I-75 South, 85 South, and then hitting 20 West. Essentially, that's where we would compete because of the size of the buildings, right? When you look here, the ones that are actually on 85 South, you don't have that. Lithia Springs, Locust Grove, you got Palmetto, that's a 563. We're building a 680 is a 680 and is a 780. Okay? So the 680 would not compete with the 560. Then you have Atlanta, you got Douglasville, you got Jackson, that's 75 South. You got Noonan, that's 1.2 million square feet. So those are two different tenants. Somebody that's looking for a 1.2 or is typically about a range of 10% or so, right? So if they're looking for 1.2, they'll do 1.1. They might do 1.3, but they're not ultimately going to look for a 780,000 square footer. Then you go a little bit further south, you got Henry, Clayton County. So all 75. The only one that's on 85 South is just this Noonan and Palmetto. And I kind of shared why that doesn't compete. What that says, guys, is what we're building actually does meet the deepest tenant demand pool. If you look at all of the ones that are of this size, of 500,000 square feet on up to 1 million square feet, they are leased. They're leased. So we're not just building anything that, is gonna sit empty.
I was
Go ahead.
speaking to the empty warehouses that as you enter into Palmetto that are on the right and the left of 29, and also on Stonewall Terrace.
Talking about the
there's
3 1 million square foot?
I'm talking about locally. I'm talking about, I don't know about the size, I don't know how big
It's
their
important for you to know
warehouses
the
and they're
size.
empty. Stonewall Terrace got them, Can Creek Parkway got them, Highway 29 got them going into Palmetto. Oakley Industrials has vacant, empty warehouses that have signs for lease. Some of them have for lease or sale. So
You don't want that, we can't talk logic.
that it may not be logical to you, but I'm talking local warehouses that you can drive to from Fairburn on the south side, in close proximity to where we live, that are empty. They build them and they're empty.
Does everybody understand that the tenants that we're looking at, we're not looking at multiple tenants for these buildings?
Can you give us examples of the
These
tenants?
are-
I don't
these
understand.
are single-
Who are single,
Who are these people?
single tenants that you're
Everybody
targeting?
that's already there.
Give me examples. What do you?
So a DHL would be an example, a FedEx would be an example, Amazon would be an example, Walmart would be an example. So that kind of gives you an example, but you would have one tenant here, and then having a 180, that's likely going to be almost a single tenant as well. Worst case scenario is 2 tenants, but that's smaller businesses, which is still needed. And I can't compare it to something that is also older product. So what I'm reflecting is we are seeing a flight to quality. So for those tenants that are looking for those spaces, they're saying, I don't want to be in something that's essentially functionally obsolete. So I would rather be in some place where I have the higher clear heights. I do have more natural lighting that's coming in. I do have wider column spacing, right? I do have the parking and the trailer parking that's in there. It is easy access to and from the interstate, so I'm not driving by a bunch of people that's upset.
It'd be great if you would improve those outdated, obsolete warehouses instead of building new warehouses that at some point in time are also gonna be obsolete in
And then when
20 years.
when you improve those, you're still sitting because it's still functionally obsolete. Any other lead questions? I wanted to make sure, because it's so random. Awesome. All right. Appreciate you.
I have a question, an opportunity to talk about the positive impact perhaps. With the $100,000 contribution towards recreation, whatever that word encompasses in your mind, the city's mind versus the residents. You jokingly said it's either a kids park or a roundabout. If that money's already charted to be spent, is it actually that far away from being an option pitched within your original plan here? Does that question make sense?
Not really.
If there's $100,000 promise,
That's-
money that is,
Okay, let me clarify. So this
Okay.
$100,000 is not, I have two boys. They are 8 and 12 years old. I would not want a park that's right next to industrial. I would want it further from a major interstate where there's a ton of residential. So Welcome Park, for example, that is further away from a major industrial area to where you don't have just trucks flying by left and right around that recreation center. From a safety standpoint, would you agree?
I agree, what you're saying sounds like our houses that
I
have a
was
lovely
gonna
green
say,
space
would you
without
want that by your
industrial right
house?
next to it.
I'm also talking about, as far as the houses, we're talking about 200 yards of distance. So it's two different things. So what we're talking about here is, there's no existing parks and recs right now in the district. And so that's something that we want to help with, especially knowing that the economic development of our project will create more jobs, that'll create more families that are gonna wanna move there. There's gonna be more residential, especially in those out parcels. That's going to happen. You're gonna have more hotels that are here. You're gonna have more retail that's there as well. And so we wanna be able to contribute towards a solution of making sure that there is a park that is built in the district, but obviously further away from where there's major interstate improvements.
What does $100,000 cover in a public park?
Whatever you want it to, it can definitely buy the land.
Half the playground at Design Parks.
Okay.
That pays for half a playground.
Does it pay for the land?
Nope, not even close.
I don't know which land.
But a typical children's playground these days, done right, costs $200,000.
So half of a playground.
Correct. Just put it in perspective.
So that's half of a cost that the city doesn't have to worry about, or the residents don't have to worry about.
That's correct.
Okay.
Oh, so you're not building it, you're just giving money to the city
We're
to
building
eventually.
towards it, yeah.
Oh, I
Ultimately,
thought you were
that's
gonna
not-
put it down. Oh,
Right now, the
okay.
city ultimately is the one that, you know, they need to do what's best for the residents and what they want, how they want it laid out, et cetera. So, we wanna keep that within the city.
Positive, I'm not looking for error within it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that is wonderful, I appreciate that, I just wanted to clarify where
That was
and
a
how
great-
that money could have been incorporated into something like this to maybe bridge the gap between the residents, again, not wanting all the traffic and the trucks flying by their residential areas where there's kids playing.
They're already flying by.
We know that.
And so how do we improve that?
So, for those that may not know, the city has purchased the property next to Oakley Industrial, and that will be a fire station, a fire facility. And with that land, I've requested that we have a pocket park. So there will be a pocket park that goes there. We have also purchased land on Old National Highway 138 where our police headquarters will be. And I've requested there that we have a linear park. So some of these funds, and that's all District 7. So some of these funds can go towards those either one or the other, whichever one comes first. Right now, from my perspective, the police headquarters probably will come before the fire station, I'm thinking. But
This is a 188 acre woodland area right now.
Okay.
You're talking about little nothing parks. Is there like
Well,
playgrounds?
I'll say this. I'll say this. So this is wait. Hang on. I want to address this because I've sat here and I'm recording this for the benefit of the people that are not here. And I've heard all the banter, all the back and forth. And one thing that I will not engage in, and I try my best not to engage in, is insulting people and minimizing and just acting as if, and you can look at her and her and her, but here's the thing, but see, this is the thing, it's your opinion, I'm not a dude, okay, no, hang on, and we're gonna stop right now, I'm not a dude, no, we're going to allow me to speak. Everyone has said what they wanted to say in this room. Your opinion is offended by what you think my actions are as a duly elected person out of this district in this city. If you are offended by that, that is your right to be offended. But you are not going to minimize the things that we work so hard to bring the citizens and the communities. If you think a linear park doesn't mean anything, then you thought that, we heard that, point taken. I'll make sure that everyone knows that this did not mean anything to you. Okay, it was something that good for you. Okay, no, but I'm still speaking. But I am still speaking. Yes, excuse you. Yes, because I was elected to speak. And I sat here all night listening. But you know what? But I ran against you and I beat you. You know why? Based on the fact, no. Based on the fact that, but you know what? No, we're not taking the camera down. Because here's what it all is. The resentment that you hold about the fact that I was elected is what has you saying these things. This is not necessary. It is not necessary. But eventually it was going to come out. Right? No one needs all this disrespect, and it's certainly not right to disrespect what I'm trying to explain. No, it's disrespect. No, but here's what I'm saying. No, this is what I'm saying. No. Because you know why I'm yelling? Because why is it so hard for someone to listen to the information that I'm providing you?
Listening to this information the entire time.
Okay.
I went on a tour with these guys.
Okay. You know what? I've provided the information. If you don't agree with it, I heard what you
I
said,
appreciate
but we
you.
will not minimize something that we have worked hard to make sure that the citizens have
Yes.
parks
I'm happy that
in
the
our city,
citizens-
in
yes,
our
there's a
new
plan
capital
for it.
projects.
I think it's important that everybody is aware of that.
It's just ridiculous.
I was
And
not aware of, I knew about the pocket park, I was not aware
We'll-
about
we'll
the
address-
park as well going in Old National. So this money does contribute towards something that is already in progress, which is a positive thing. Kind of getting back to just the overall summary, guys, is to mitigate the existing traffic. A lot of that is already being done along that interchange. And that will be done in 2027. We are looking at adding additional signage, along Spence Road. Those improvements will allow for at least for trucks to be able to turn somewhere. Right now, they aren't doing anything. We suggested potentially a roundabout that would be potentially helpful. It didn't seem like that was kind of fully well received, but that was something that was extremely costly, but I think would be something that's an added benefit to the surrounding area. Also, from a DRI footprint, we have mitigated that a good bit, about 300,000 square feet. We are adding LEED certified. That was not in the original plan. It being compatible with the nearby property uses. There is 3 major industrial corridors that have already always been here. We have went back and kind of shown the maps and shown the growth. The $100,000 city contribution towards future park improvements. We are also going to be within the South Fulton CID, so we have to be put into that expansion. They are supportive of it. This helps with further traffic improvements, increasing safety, as well as increasing the workforce transportation and beautification in the area. And then last but not least is, as a minority developer and as the first Black-owned industrial developer in the country, minority participation at the subcontractor level is extremely important to me. And so from my standpoint, I want to make sure that that's incorporated in here. Now, how many subcontractors that are actually minorities that are in industrial buildings is not a ton, but all it takes is one. But if this is all killed, you're kind of hindering that. But if that's not important, I understand that. And so that's just the summation overall. Yeah.
I do have a process question that circles back to where we were.
Yes, ma'am.
No.
I just wanted to say something, and it's truly directed to you guys and to Councilwoman Pritchett. I think everyone sat here and listened, and everyone gave ideas, changes that they wanted to see. And what I observed, that every time they were rebuffed, every time. So we've given you the changes that we want to see, we have. And in terms of attitudes, and I'm sorry to say this, the worst attitude comes from the council. I watch council members with each other. And so if citizens are behaving that way, it's because you said it was okay. Thank you.
So I want to recap as far as the suggestions that were made. One was having a green roof, so adding a farm on top of the roof. I sat there and shared that it increases leaks, and ultimately that tenant that's going to want to be in that space will not be in that space. So the jobs are gone. Another suggestion was that the 180,000 square footer can just go away and we can just add a park that's there. I said, okay, but I'm not sure as far as the roundabout, how important necessarily is that? I see one, thank you for having a thumbs up.
I think
I will-
we're looking
I
at
just
compromises.
want to say thank you for acknowledging some type of agreement in some way.
Yeah, I think that there are
Go ahead.
elements of agreement for sure.
Okay.
I think one of the concerns with traffic is, as you've identified, there's nowhere for trucks to turn around that
Correct.
they are choosing to turn around.
Correct.
And so a roundabout, if it is functionally possible to keep the impact, that doesn't help the Renaissance community because the roundabout would be on the other side of things, but it could help address some of the concerns
Of it going
from the
further up.
Fairburn side and
Correct.
from the Renaissance Festival side and things. So it is not a solution, it would be a compromise in working towards something that works for everybody. It would also keep our streets safer from trucks going places where they're not supposed to be. There are kids on our streets.
Agreed.
Like,
That's why I suggested
you've
what I
got
suggested.
kids my nephew's age, like,
Yeah.
I get it, but, so,
Thank you.
yeah.
I think what you guys are getting here is warehouse fatigue. We're over it. We're absolutely over it. We implore our council people to find the next highest and best use for the land that we have available here. Why warehouses? We're just done with it. We're done with the traffic. We're done with the aesthetics of it. We're done with all of it. And you talk about the jobs that will be in those warehouses is not enough money to buy a house in the area. Not in Renaissance. Those townhouses are pushing $400,000. They
Could
won't
I
be able to
comment,
buy it.
buddy?
And so what I'm saying is, what may seem negative here is fatigue. So I apologize if that's what you got from us, but we're over that. And I understand, we're on an industrial block, but it's not our fault that they decided that they would approve housing. So the residents are here now. The residents are here now. The council people need to make a choice whether they want to see industrial or do they want to appease the residents that are here and bring in more residents, more tax base. And we're sick of looking at all the surrounding communities that have these nice amenities. Up the street, we've got Trillet. Fayetteville has got the World Soccer thing. Like, we're sick of it. We deserve so much more than this.
So you don't
And
go to
I'm sick
Trillet?
of the downplay of what North Fulton has, what they have. I don't care what they have. If we're telling you this is not what we want, then that's what y'all need to listen to. It's not, I don't care what North Fulton has, and if they've got more money than what we've got, and they got spoke, and they've got wings, I don't care about any of that. If I'm saying to you as a resident of this district that I don't want any of that, that's what you need to listen to. North Fulton is not the measure or the bar for me. I have my own opinions, my own ideas of how I wanna live and the amenities that I want around me. And I appreciate your contribution to parks, I really do, but most of the communities around here have their own amenities. We have 2 pools in Oakley Township. We have a doggy park, we have 2 playgrounds, we have a basketball, we've got tennis courts, and we're about to build an exercise facility, right? So what I'm saying to you is, y'all gotta go back to the drawing. If you're trying to make it appealing, that's not gonna appeal to us because we have what you're offering.
I appreciate you sharing that. You are coming from a standpoint to where this is the first time that I've met you at these meetings.
It is.
And we've shared this with a ton of different folks, and we have to consider everybody's opinion, right? And while I understand it doesn't fit yours specifically, but we did have specific people that said there are no parks and recs that are there. There are no grocery stores that are here. But I allowed you to finish, man, please allow me to. And so, but then there's like, hey, there's no grocery stores, but then somebody else is like, well, there was a grocery store developer that wanted to do something and the residents ended up pushing him out. And so I think that there's a aspect that, and again, this is the first time I'm meeting you, but we've done a pretty significant amount of outreach for this entire development itself. And I understand what you're saying as far as, hey, I'm here now, but that doesn't just mean because I'm here, forget everything else that's already been here. It's almost like my opinion is the sole.
Residents are saying they don't want that. What I'm
Certainly.
saying is, the council people,
Go ahead.
this is not for you.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, because you don't do zoning, you're here to get something zoned so you can bring industry here. So my comment is to the people who make the decisions, right, in our area. So what I'm saying is, if we're over it, regardless of how you tie it up in a bow, make it pretty, present it to the council people, if we are telling our council people that we are over this, find us something better. That's what we deserve on this side of town. We deserve better. And it's not, we don't live here because we can't buy in North Fulton.
Come on now.
We live here because this is.
North Fulton?
No. I'm not talking, this is
I'm just trying to understand, where did that comparison?
This is not about you. I just said that, right?
North and South Fulton, it's always.
We beefing, we be done.
But what is, you have,
We're not beefing.
you have Trillett, that
If
is
you've been,
15 minutes
if you've
away.
been in South Fulton
I don't
for
have
15
to.
years and you understand the conversation, you understand where I'm coming from. If you've been here, you know how people like to use North Fulton as a bar for our schools, for our communities, for everything. And I'm saying they're not the measure nor the bar for me. So what I'm saying is, to our council people, the people who make the decisions, we don't want warehouses. I don't care what bow you put on it, what Christmas trees you just decorate in front of it. I don't want it. We don't want it. And everybody in here is really telling you they don't want this.
You are.
The council people are turning a deaf ear to us. And we don't deserve that, is what I'm saying. And so I took you out of the conversation because I'm really talking to our council people, the people who make decisions. Because you're here to do what you do. You run a development company and you're gonna sell your development. We're telling you we don't want it. We're telling our council people we don't want it. They've got to find something better for us. We have a clean slate here. You cannot tell me warehouse after warehouse is the highest and best use for our land. It's not. This is an educated demographic here. I ain't trying to go and sweat in nobody's warehouse.
Right.
My kid just graduated college, studied for the outside ticket on Saturday. She's not going to work in nobody's
Let's talk.
warehouse.
What do you
She
suggest?
could
What do you
not be in a
suggest?
warehouse in this area.
So forget about individuals that are trying to bring
No.
up their income
Well, take
and
them
that
to
don't
your-
have a college
take them to your
education.
side of town.
My side of town has industrial.
No.
My side of town has industrial, and it's the oldest of
Well,
industrial.
that's perfect then. That's perfect.
What we're
It's
saying
already
is,
there.
so is it
It's
here.
already there.
It's here
So
too.
take it there. I'm telling you, we don't want it.
But I'm telling you, it's already here.
We don't want
We
no
don't want
more. We
I
don't
don't
want
understand, I don't
more.
understand how you're not getting
I do
that.
wish more of our residents would show up to these meetings,
Would it be
because a
possible
few of us
to
live in
build
Renaissance. I own, me and my mother has a house
that
in
you
Oakley
could
Township.
But that's what I wanted to kind of talk
So I
through,
was
like,
16
what other
years old.
options do you guys?
But
Yeah.
honestly,
Because, I mean, you
and I agree with
I'm
everything
hearing
you
from
said,
some of you guys
100%.
like nothing.
But I do
No,
wish
we got
had a lot
something,
more
we got
residents
something.
in this
If you'll
community.
recall, let me refresh your memory, in the first
I'm on the
meeting you
group chat.
had,
Are y'all
I
gonna
asked you, what is plan
Nobody
B?
say nothing.
If it fails, then
It's only
there's
three of us.
no.
Right now in here.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
If there's no warehouse.
Yeah, I didn't say a lot, but what she
We heard
said,
you.
I felt every bit of what she said.
Yeah.
Because technically, I own in Oakley Township and Renaissance in South Park, and I've been here since I was 16 years old, and I'm 37 now. So that's what, 16, 17, 20 years. So, and everything you're saying, 100% I agree with.
Has your
We don't
property
want-
value gone down?
It's probably, what, no, it's about the same, pretty much right now.
It's the same?
It pretty much has been the same.
Oh,
Well,
say
let me
20?
tell you why you cannot make the
Go ahead.
value argument with us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you exactly why.
Well, he had his
Because
hand
when
raised.
that,
Go
our
ahead.
development when our development was built, there was this redlining that occurred, and part of the punishment is that they had to approve a certain number of loans for Oakley Township, and it hit right at a time where if you were breathing, you could buy a house. That's all that mattered, is that you were breathing. And so when 2008 came, we saw all those houses go into foreclosure.
Yeah.
That impacts
So what you're
the
saying is
value.
they shouldn't have put the residential in
That's
that
not
area?
what.
That's what you're saying?
Don't.
That's what you're
You're
saying.
insulting me now.
That's exactly what you
You're
just said.
insulting me now. You're
No,
insulting
listen,
me now.
what ended up happening, we know about how the cycle was as far as the recession itself.
Well, that's why I'm telling you, your value
In
argument does
05
not
and
work for
06,
this
they were
community.
building homes wherever they could build,
And
even
they-
in
and if
places
you
that they
agree-
should not have built
and if
it.
you were
They
breathing,
should not
you
have
get
built
one.
Renaissance right in the middle of 3 industrial corridors,
But they're
right next to
here,
the interstate. They
and
should
you're
not
trying to
have,
come here.
but they
So what we're
did.
saying is, we're
But
cutting it off
they
at
did,
the
ma'am.
That's all I'm saying.
You have shared your piece, and I'm sharing my piece. And this is from a just understanding how cycles work. At the top of the cycle, you talked about it, at the top of the cycle, and yes, you could just get any type of loans that were trash loans. We know that. But they were building homes wherever. They should have not built those homes in that area. There's other areas all throughout the country to where they just squeeze residential in between areas that just shouldn't be there. It should have stayed industrial. But now, it's built, we got past 08, property values are continuing to go up. We have not had an 08 type of crash. We are, from a cycle standpoint, we are really at the bottom, kind of trying to get up out of there, depending upon whatever the administration does. But regardless of that, we have to figure out where we're going, and people have moved into those homes over that time period, since 08. But that doesn't negate the fact that those homes should have been built there from the beginning. And so we're here. So it's, I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's the fact.
Do you know the population?
Yes, ma'am. Just only because I haven't heard.
Got you.
So, I mean, I'm a trainer, so I'm really that South Fulton incorporated area. But I travel around here to come east or whatever. But I have a question, because I have noticed, we talked about the park and recreation. And this, for me, running into my retirement side of life. I am looking for the park and recreation. If that's something that you guys can, more than that 100,000 that you wanna offer, increase that budget to allow for that. But on the end of where she's saying about the homes being built into, this corridor of, industrial. If you know that, why build more?
Because it's already an industrial corridor, and that's what's in demand, and that is coming from us as consumers, guys. You guys are saying you don't want any more warehouses, but you guys are the consumers that are dropping that.
That's me hearing you only looking at the financial side of it.
I'm looking at the market demand side of it. So let's just take away industrial. Let's kind of go through what other property types could it be. So if it was just all residential homes that was there, would you guys be happy?
Yes.
You would be happy.
But you wouldn't make enough money, it doesn't have enough taxpayer base.
Market demand.
Market demands that we need more money.
No.
So I ask the question, if plan A, if you can't build this warehouse, what's plan B?
We are going through
You
that.
said we
You're
don't
over
have
talking
no
right now.
plan B,
You're not
we're
listening.
stuck on warehouse.
You're not listening.
No, go ahead.
You're not listening.
You're not listening to us. You're not hearing what we're telling you.
Sir.
She told you.
We would like to
We
be
are
able to-
burnt out on warehouses.
You can definitely leave if you don't want to.
Oh, no, I'm not.
We would like to have a discussion.
I'm not accepting your invitation to get up and go
wanna hear
at this point.
from the other side.
No, I'm listening. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
From
If I may,
When
we
why
talked.
not, something like Home Depot, Lowe's, or whatever to that nature, or some other, I mean, I heard you say they blocked
The grocery store.
the grocery store. But what about, I mean, cause this pocket has nothing when you look at retail.
There's a reason for that.
Why?
You got to have both, both gotta have the rooftops, and the rooftops also have to have disposable income to support those types of uses.
And that Home Depot isn't gonna say, I'm gonna come in here and put in all of this infrastructure.
You don't have jobs.
You still have this?
It's houses.
Okay.
Houses.
But I mean, when you look at the corridor.
It's a chicken on the egg argument. Which
I
one
mean,
you want? I think you understand.
Warehouse jobs aren't gonna buy
Home
houses.
Depot, Lowe's.
You can't say that.
The next
Man,
one
build us a
over
trillion down
An
here.
apartment.
Build us a trillion. Or build us a serendipity. What is it?
Pardon me,
Yeah.
pardon me, we have another question. in the
Or a
front.
Peachtree
Excuse me, excuse
And they
me.
got that environmental.
Excuse me,
background.
sir,
That's
we got a
beautiful.
question in the front if you don't mind.
Oh, okay, excuse me.
What about a little retail area, a small little retail area, so that local people can own little shops and, instead of going outside and spending their money outside of us, and in that little retail area, there could even be a park, because there are cities that have little retail areas and parks for the kids, and people can eat lunch out there. What about something like that, that makes our city feel more like a home?
You typically need the infrastructure to be put in for all of that. But then what we're saying is you still have areas for that. This is commercial, this is commercial, this is all commercial. And so all of that is going to happen. I'm not taking that away. I don't know if that part is the part that everybody is getting, is that retail isn't just gonna come on its own and put in all the infrastructure by themselves. They have to know that ultimately there's growth there's already infrastructure that's being done in that area. And so what we're saying is we're putting in that infrastructure, we're providing the jobs, we're providing the road improvements, and these zonings that are already there allow for that retail to be able to happen, that commercial use to continue to happen. And so it is progressing in that way, and if you guys see the changes that are on the south side. Now, whether or not it's perfect or not, I apologize, that's not my control, but it is progressing significantly from even what it was 5 years ago.
So if we were to like just suspend the notion of where we're headed right now, what this project looks like, and our anger and resentment towards what it is, you know, right? And thought about what is, as he says, a plan B, what could we do? And I'm opening the room to suggestions for what y'all see, what kind of vision or imagination we have for these things. As Ms. McGeehan brought up one idea, is there anything, I know that you're almost entirely focused on industrial development, but is there an imaginative, innovative project that looks like something that's not that?
You kind of suggested two things. You said one, that you wanted the people in the room to suggest and provide a vision and provide feedback. So I'm okay. I want to hear that, right? But what I was going to get to before I was really disturbed is ultimately I was going to go through the different property types and the reason why certain things happen and certain things do not. If that's important to you, I'm happy to go through it, or you guys can suggest to me kind of what do you think necessarily should be, and we're not talking about little small retail, guys. Again, retail does not take up this much land. It does not provide that infrastructure. And so what is the suggestion? Yes, sir.
In the natural world, they studied the bumblebee and found out with his wings and his body that the bumblebee shouldn't fly. But the bumblebee flies pretty dang good and does his own thing. Now, everything you've told us about the rooftop, housetop, this stuff, is all these charts and all this stuff you got here. Perchance, is there something out there that we hadn't stumbled across, something that'll make a name for yourself and the whole area, South Fulton and Fairburn and that can be pulled off with this 200 acres of land and nobody's thought of it? Everybody's getting mad about this, and this, and the other, like to have this, like that. But could there be something out there? We could build a bunch of theaters, we could do a bunch of restaurants, grocery stores.
Go ahead, let's start there. I don't want you to go down a bunch of, I want to address them.
Yes, you can go down it, and you'd be like the guy studying the bumblebee. This is no good, this is no good, this is no good, this is no good. So,
I'm only providing stats for the reason why.
Get that bumblebee to fly.
Yeah, and so from a theater standpoint, how many theaters have you guys seen shut down?
A bunch. All of them.
Why?
But some started.
Netflix. No. Go ahead. Netflix.
We have no
YouTube.
theaters.
What is
in
that?
our city.
HBO
None.
Max. That's
Not
streaming,
even one.
is it not?
Streaming,
influencers. That's a digital consuming tool.
Yes.
Okay? And so that is, add it one at a time, please. That is a digital consuming tool, right? So that is what's driving the theaters not being leased, people not going to watch movies, right? And so why would we build something to where people aren't going to go to it?
That wasn't his question.
That was one of that was one. We're addressing property type.
That's not what he asked. You didn't listen.
Can we let it go?
Go ahead.
So,
You didn't get a chance.
I understand the, so you use theater as your example, correct?
No, somebody else mentioned theater.
No, I understand, but what he's drawn off of is using theater and the use of streaming services as an example, correct? Just want to make sure that's where we're standing on. I study this, really, so while you think that like complete streaming just means theater, absolutely, that's technically not true. There's still a need for theater. There are certain things you have to watch within a theater setting. Streaming builds a certain structure where it's like popcorn. It's literally just multiple different niches, multiple different things. Sir?
No.
So what you're saying is
What
that
I'm
you're
saying
saying
is
streaming
that-
does not impact the theaters?
No, what I'm
makes
saying,
sense.
what I'm not saying is that it doesn't impact the theater. I'm saying that what you're trying to say is almost like streaming makes theaters completely obsolete. While these things.
I didn't know, that's not what I said. I said it impacts the theaters. And the first question that I asked is, have you seen theaters end up closing? And that's everybody, and everybody said that. Everybody. In the last 5 years.
But the thing is, then you have.
What about malls?
All malls are dead.
Like Shannon Mall, right? Why are malls dead?
The thing is that you
Why
have
are malls
a
dead?
situational thing. So for instance, a housing crisis, that draws housing out of everything.
Amazon. What's driving Amazon?
You.
Yes, people.
Everybody in this room. Everybody in this room.
Make those malls into warehouses. They got parking, they just need to be restructured.
We like our stuff delivered in a day or two.
I have a small question. So
Go
you
ahead.
specialize in warehouses? Is that what you only do in your industrial experience, or do you actually build other things? I think we're asking you questions, but it seems like you specialize in warehouses, right?
I specialize in warehouses, but I've done student housing, I've done retail, I have a mixed-use development, as well.
He did.
I did, you ignored it in the beginning, but go ahead.
I did not ignore you, sir. I'm listening.
It's not here.
It's not in Atlanta?
It's not in this meeting.
It's not in Georgia?
It's definitely in Georgia.
So where is your mixed use?
We're looking for suggestions.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I shouldn't be bringing suggestions. You guys are the experts. I want to hear what the experts
What you
say.
good at? What are you good at? What do you do good?
Why not a mixed use property?
Okay, so from a mixed use standpoint, what do you consider mixed use? Because mixed use is broad.
Well, that's, housing, retail.
And what else?
Industrial.
Live, work, play.
Yeah, a lot of things. I mean.
And office?
Huh? Yeah, I mean, I've seen that, but with mixed use, I've also seen empty.
Offices. Or empty mixed
Empty
use?
businesses.
Yes, yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot
So,
of,
I mean, but,
so would
could
you guys,
do mixed use along with a warehouse on the other side of the road?
on
And
the
in the
other side of
middle,
the
you
road?
have some greenery. Compromise. Just saying.
What we're talking about is,
Why
when
does
you
it
say
all have
mixed
to
use,
be warehouses?
Yeah, I mean.
because that's the highest and best use, but what we're also saying is,
Instead of three, put two. You got one here, one on the other end, and
Guys.
in the middle, something else.
what you haven't recognized is this is mixed use.
But you're
Whether or
using it as
not
a
we
mix.
agree on it or not, it is a mix of uses.
But you're not using it as a mix of.
No, it is. You have industrial, which is within that city, and then these out parcels that are here and here. This is residential, this is commercial, this is commercial.
Come on, nobody would call that.
Well, I-
But nobody's going to, from a retail standpoint,
Be real, you're in real estate, nobody.
so let's build office.
If you're putting
Planner?
greenery
I'm
in the
just saying,
middle,
nobody calls that
you're
mixed use.
separating the.
People say mixed use is very broad. What is mixed use?
I just said.
Mixed use is just mixes of uses. It's just different uses.
No.
That's all it is.
Tomatoes, tomatoes now, come on.
I think it's pretty much aligned. I mean, guys, like, this is the part to where, again, at the end of the day, I know that you would rather not have this, but this is also being driven by you all. And also the retail.
Not in that location for sure. We didn't pick that location. That was your decision.
No matter which location it is.
No, it does.
It's already been around in this
We
location.
need our trees to breathe,
Did
right?
not call you up right there and say, hey, we want a warehouse.
But you ordered on Amazon, they really did.
I don't do Amazon.
Wait, look, we're on a hiatus from all of those folks.
You on a hiatus?
Yes.
Oh, boycott.
Go ahead.
But,
We're talking about land use, right?
Sure.
We're talking about land use.
Yeah.
A long time ago in this meeting, we talked about the comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
And we talked about future land use amendment.
Yep.
When was the future land use amendment approved to change the land use for this property from suburban neighborhood to industrial?
It's early this year.
When specifically?
I don't remember the exact.
April 22nd.
We got the timeline.
It happened on April 22nd at a city council meeting.
Okay.
That's 6 days after the DRI report was delivered.
Okay.
That future land use amendment was initiated by who?
The city. That's it.
So Ms. Pritchett, at that meeting on April 22nd, the future land use change for this property was put on that agenda for first reading. What happened?
I can't recall specifically because.
The agenda was changed at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay.
To change it to second reading. And a vote was taken and it was approved.
I mean,
Minutes proved that.
Okay.
There was no public hearing, there was no public involvement during that meeting concerning this issue.
I'm
So
not, to be honest, to be honest.
It wasn't closed doors.
There was
no public comment.
Why wasn't there any appeals?
The first thing is, because it was city driven, and I'm not a planner like you, however, procedurally, if this was something that would have had to go through the planning commission, right? Then if that's the case, there were people that would have came before the public and that was legally published. And then after that, I'm not sure if that actually went on the calendar for a public hearing. It may have, but because I'm not thinking about it in the context or, with the specifics as you are, I'd have to look back and see what happened. At that point, if there was a public hearing, the public was, and all these things are published, as you know, the public would have come and would have been able to provide public comment. Now, the problem that I think where people are feeling some type of angst related to the inability to speak about these issues relating to development during regular public comment outside of the public hearing is that legally it's improper. Our city attorney has looked into this and has determined that when you have it's getting like, say, 2 bites at the apple. You say it at the hearing and then more people will come during the public comment when the only time that you're supposed to talk about that specific issue is during the public hearing. Now, so clearing that part up. As far as this, not to say a notion, but the idea that the council doesn't want to hear what people have to say, I'm just saying, I can only speak for myself. I introduced last year a resolution or ordinance to allow for the public to make comments under any circumstance. The majority of the council voted that down. I brought that back. We had our first read last week, and the second read will be Wednesday. Even if that doesn't pass, the council has the ability to suspend the rules to allow for residents to speak related to certain circumstances. Like, it's people that do not live in our city or, a subject matter expert, what have you. The bottom line of what I'm saying is I can look into that to see how that went. We have to meet all the legal requirements in anything we do. Nothing is like, say, this is not personal, I can't specifically recall because that before you even get something to be at a hearing or onto, our calendars, it takes weeks and months.
And I didn't mean to imply anything was illegal.
No, but I didn't take it that way.
Was suddenly turned into a second reading.
And I don't recall why.
Will there be another public hearing before city council, before another vote is taken on this rezoning application?
So, I don't know. I don't know because if something changed and the staff would have to reevaluate the project and give a recommendation, then would it have to go before the planning commission? That's one question. Then if it didn't, then would it actually have to go for a hearing since we already had a hearing? But does it? I don't know. Because we deferred it. So whatever mechanism we use to address deferrals generally, that could be the mechanism that we use, because the deferral was to the complaints that the council made. Some of the complaints that I consider valid was they wanted more information. They wanted more engagement with the community. Not that there wasn't engagement before, because we sat in the same room and this room was packed out as it was tonight. But it was an opportunity to address more information based on these tours that were provided, things that the council wanted to understand, getting different citizens that wanted to provide input and, see everything that they're doing tonight. So it was deferred for those reasons. And so I would defer to Attorney Bailey, who could perhaps answer if we would wind up with another public hearing on this subject matter.
So the reality of it is zoning procedures law only requires one public hearing for a case. And we've had multiple. We had a planning commission hearing, and we've had a public hearing and zoning public hearing that you all came to. Whether or not we're gonna have another is a matter of process that I can get from the staff to see if there's an opportunity for that. But as I understand it right now, the deferral that occurred was a 6-day deferral to for the next meeting to be revoked. That was my understanding of it. However, that's something I can check into.
What will be the motion that will be brought forth at that next meeting?
I mean, it just depends. How many?
Because so far we've had a motion to approve, and that failed. We had a motion to defer, and that passed 4-3.
There was a motion for denial.
I don't recall that.
No, there was only a motion for approval and a motion for deferral.
Right.
But you can have as many motions as you want to.
You remember when we got the deferral?
There was a substitute motion.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
There
The
was a
substitute motion
There was
ended
no
up
vote on the
taking.
motion for denial.
There was a vote.
Not
It
on the
failed.
motion for denial.
It was a substitute motion for denial. And then that ended up getting moved forward, and they did vote, and that
That's
failed.
correct. That's correct.
There was.
That's correct.
A motion.
Yep, she made the original motion to defer.
Councilwoman Willis did that.
Let me just make sure
I was
it's
there.
clear. So when the initial meeting happened on July 22nd, there was a motion to approve. That motion was seconded. That motion did not pass.
Correct.
We came back to the city council the next month to perfect the record, right? Perfecting the record doesn't mean the next motion has to be deferred. It can be any motion that's available under the Robert's Rules of Orders, which is approval with conditions, deferral, or denial. The one that came up was deferral. And then a substitute motion came up in place of Councilwoman Willis, of Councilwoman Pritchett's motion from Councilwoman Willis to deny. That motion failed, and then the original motion came back to the table, which was approved. That's why we are to defer.
Could I make one more point? So, in terms of I think you as a planner do understand what I have learned about zoning, and I've taken, I think, 4 courses. One of them I took 3 different times. If a project meets the criteria for that zoning designation, then we can approve it. You understand? Yes. Okay. So we're in a position as a city looking at things holistically where we don't go approving or denying things based on, it's a variety of factors. It's everything combined. What the public is talking about, if it does meet the criteria, does it fit within the future land use, what's surrounding it, that, does it fit, does it not, so it meets the criteria. I want to be clear on that. So it's hard for us really to make a solid decision sometimes because it's not a blatant disregard of what the best and highest use is. It's like, it's not putting something somewhere that it's so outrageously out of bounds of what you can do. It's just, it makes it makes people that are in this room, people who are opposed to it, very uncomfortable. But it's not a complete, blatant disregard for zoning laws, zoning procedures. So I want to make that clear. It's not like we're just allowing them to build something that's so outrageously wrong. So that's why we're here, because we're trying to hash this out.
And you said that the $100,000 is for about half of a park.
My last cost estimate for a children's playground in a park was $200,000.
How many square feet?
Talking about the equipment.
For the equipment?
Yeah.
Right, so how many square feet?
How many square feet does the equipment take up?
Right.
Like, is it a big playground, little playground?
Couple thousand, standard typical playground.
I mean,
Well, that's
so you suggested that, hey, you need to, the 100,000 doesn't make sense, you need to increase that. Okay, so if that was the increase to be able to cover for that $200,000 for the park.
Oh yeah, we're all sold now.
I'm not saying you're all sold, but there's a list of things that we have laid out, and what I'm trying to do is ultimately get back on task, because I think at this point we're continuing to like lose that track, and so I want to make sure that if it's something that is making sense and we are finding alignment within this room, that's just not missed. And so that was something that I was suggesting. I just wanted to hear just as far as about the park specifically.
With what the attorney said and what the council lady said, do you not feel why we think that this is from the top down, that these meetings to see what the community thinks and feels and their input is just a dog and pony show, that really it's going through the motions, that you're not really hearing and feeling, and there's nothing you can do because you're stuck on a warehouse. Instead of, and with the procedures, you know, when I spoke at the public comment, and procedurally, you got a timekeeper. You got a timekeeper that clocks your time, it clocks public comment and hearing comments. But when people stood up in line, the timekeeper didn't say, okay, we got 6 people to speak, you got 10 minutes, you each have a minute and a half. They get someone to monopolize the time, and everyone doesn't get an opportunity.
It doesn't
to
work,
speak.
but it doesn't
I'm
work
just
that way.
saying that this is from the top down, plain and simple.
So if everybody gets a chance to speak, then the developer should get the same amount of time to speak.
They do.
Everybody gets a chance to do.
Yeah, but
That's why they allot a certain amount of time.
that's
for
right,
both
but they say,
sides.
okay, you got 10 minutes, there's 10 of you, that's a minute, they don't say.
Go ahead, man.
You missed my point.
Thank you, though.
You missed
Thank
my
you.
point.
Councilwoman Pritchett, I thought, do we not already have a budget for those 2 projects that you're talking about, the fire station and the police station and the train?
We do.
So what is this 100,000 just something extra?
Yeah.
So we have money already for those parks,
This
so we're
is
not
in
looking for
addition
money,
to,
right?
this is
For
taking
those
the
parks.
tax revenue and now being able to allocate it to something else that might be important.
I'm just asking.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, but I asked her, sir.
It's in addition to it. Go.
I don't need addition.
So we already have those parks budgeted, but they're talking about they're trying to address what the community has been saying, that there are no parks in District 7.
Absolutely.
Whether the community is aware or not that we have 2 parks budgeted for, that's not that point. They're trying to contribute to what you've asked. So that money, I mean, how would you use that
It's
100,000?
not about the money I'm talking about. We can use
I'm sorry, and a walking trail? And I think that the linear park will not be,
What is a linear park?
oh, a linear park, well, a linear park is like a park where people can walk their dogs, have like, tables and stuff so people can picnic, and it's a linear meaning, well, can you explain what a linear park is?
Planet is a park design.
Thanks for
Excuse me.
Are you coming back?
That's the question.
Okay.
May I finish the question?
Go ahead, Speedy, go ahead. Do you?
Okay, so what I was asking you is not like, I mean, it's wonderful that we can get 100,000, but our parks being built are not predicated on getting this 100,000.
They're not.
So why are we having this big conversation about our parks and this $100,000? It's
Well,
deceptive.
no, so, okay, so what is deceptive? I'm not
It's not
understanding.
related to it. We already have the money for the parks.
Right.
Okay, so we got 100,000.
We have money for 2 parks.
I said parks, that's on the.
Right, 2 parks.
Right.
But the community expressed that they wanted a park in the area. And so they addressed what the community has asked for.
They being the council. The city
No,
has
no,
the
no, no,
money.
no, no.
But
They,
is
no,
this- is he
no,
not the council?
no, it's not the council. They have listened to the community, and the community asked for a community contribution, for something for them to invest in the community. It's something that developers do. Some developers contribute a traffic light. There's a developer that contributed that traffic light on Peters Road on 138. A developer did that. I didn't do that, and neither did Department of Transportation. So 100,000, they're saying that they're setting aside 100,000 for a park. If you don't want them to set aside 100,000 for a park and use it in another way, you can tell them it's not my contribution to make. I have asked for 2 parks to be budgeted while these facilities were being built. No one else asked for that. I did because
Because you're the council.
well, because I thought it'd be a
You know we want one.
well, I mean, I thought it was, I think it would be a benefit to the community.
Because we're the only district without a park or a grocery store, absolutely. So maybe the 100 should go to the grocery store,
What grocery store?
the one we don't have.
You can't build a grocery store for $100,000.
Well, we can't do a park either.
But there could be things.
I think, Councilwoman, I mean, ultimately, there's no, you guys wouldn't say, okay, well, look, we got 2 parks budgeted, and so we got this additional, amount of contribution that we can now have a 3rd park, which means that's more of a recreation benefit. I don't see the problem in having.
We actually have a 3rd park. We have a lake that we purchased, Lake Tahoe on West Road. And it's a lake that it's going to be a park that has different sports features in this. And I don't know if y'all knew about that, but it's something that, listen to the people, what they're asking you, what to do with $100,000. Wherever y'all decide it goes, I'm not making that decision.
Of course.
And I've never asked. I've never made an ask. I have never made an ask on a specific contribution from your project.
No, you have not.
So I'm making that clear.
Right, very true.
Right. Well, how do you feel about that $100,000?
I don't feel any kind of way because I have a budget.
Okay.
And I'm trying to fulfill the things that within our budget that's reasonable, that would be a benefit to our residents. What they're talking about has more to do with you all than it has to do with me, because I'm not making any asks. My only ask is for them to communicate with you all, understand what you guys are saying, and try to accommodate. There has to be a happy medium in this, in some kind of fashion. And that's what I'm hoping to see. And I think that there have been a lot of commentary that I find to be very interesting, productive, creative. I think that it may not feel like we got somewhere, but I think we really have, come around the bend a few times to where I think they understand that, say, if the project had to move forward, they understand clearly that it has to be a certain threshold that project has to meet. And if the project fails, then you all understand, based on what they've explained to you, that whoever comes behind and the landowner engages, the landowner is clearly going to understand what y'all want. And I don't know how they market, how they're intending to sell or use their land. But we definitely understand both sides, or at least I've heard both sides.
South Fulton's practice in rezoning votes is for the district's commissioner, councilperson, to make the first motion.
Mm-hmm.
Will you be doing that for the next vote?
I will,
Okay.
probably.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
You said that there were questions by the other council people, about this project.
Yes.
And that they wanted some of this to happen so that they could find out that information.
Yes.
Where are they?
They're not here because I can't speak for other council
No, I
members.
know.
Right.
I'm asking.
So,
It's not a common practice for the other non-district council persons to show up. The common practice is for us to make a report about what has occurred in this meeting and to provide it to them in email.
Okay, do you show them this information
I'm gonna
so that they know what we all actually said? And let me be honest here, I did send emails to every single council person and to the mayor. I only had one response.
Okay.
Out of any of the times that I have called or sent emails, and that was by Councilman Sebastian.
Okay.
He is the only one that has responded to me, and again, I get it, I'm not one of your constituents.
Well, I wouldn't have known that.
Well, but I'm a human being.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have rights.
Yes.
As a property owner. And again, my emotions are gonna get the best of me. And let me say this, in your outburst, you pointed your finger at me.
No, I wasn't trying to. I wasn't.
My anger and my deal is, this is my heart.
But I wasn't pointing at you. I wasn't. I was pointing at him. He was right next to you. I was not pointing at you. When I said her, he kept looking to someone in the back of the room, and that's why I said her. But him is who I was. And so,
you to understand,
no,
you have to understand, this is my home.
Yes.
Just like you said, you don't want these things close to a park where your kids are. I don't want this close to my home. Okay, so if we have to make concessions, I get it. I know something's coming. We don't have a choice. I don't want it to be warehouses. So what are my thoughts? I don't really know what the best thing is gonna be. We need to have people that know what's gonna be the best thing that's gonna work for everybody concerned. Why are you gonna invest, why are you gonna pay this property owner $28 million when you're not gonna get your money back? I get that. You're a businessman, I understand. But let's think about those people that surround that area and try to do the best thing for both you and for us, for all of us.
And the property owner itself.
And that property owner. I know them personally, I've known them all my life. So, yes.
Have you called them?
Yes.
Okay. What has been the discussion? I'm just curious.
You're just curious?
Yeah, I think everybody else in this room would want to know too.
Well, I think a lot of times when there are multiple family members tied up in something where there's big money, that there are certain family members that are money hungry and others that don't want to do that. But sometimes court or other things dictate the process.
Right.
And I think that is the case here. Do I think that the ones that are concerned, that care, that own those few parcels, that they are MAPCO, their hearts are so hurt with all of this too that they don't know what to do. So they're trying to be protective of the people that they have known all their lives. And I get that. I understand all sides of that. I'm not oblivious to it, and I'm not oblivious to the fact that something's gonna come there. What are my thoughts about what the best thing would be? Let's do something that's really gonna benefit the people that are already here. You say that you're gonna generate, or this is gonna generate jobs, but yet I go to a business, and they don't even have enough employees to work because there's nobody in the area that wants a job. So, there's all sides to all of those kinds of things, so let's figure out some things that are better. Parks, sure, we need green space.
Who's gonna pay for that park?
Well, you're saying
I'm
that
not
you're
gonna
gonna
pay for a
donate
park. It doesn't make any money.
Your deal for wanting to do a roundabout to help appease this right here?
That's gonna ultimately, cause I recognize as I was sitting there at that high school, that I did actually see the truck come up. And I was
Yes.
like, well, the truck's not supposed to come up here.
No.
What can we do necessarily to be able to help mitigate?
Well, I've asked for
But
a
as a-
roundabout at Valley Brook for years.
From a standpoint of this development though, it costs money to do that.
Exactly.
And so if you want to help mitigate that issue, you have to be able to get beyond the zoning.
Correct.
And so, but I'm hearing partially that folks are just like, we don't want it at all.
We don't.
And so,
We don't.
so if you don't want it at all, then what you're gonna continue to have is the same problem. So I'm just trying to, I'm here to solve a problem, and that's it. But go ahead.
Right, and I understand that, but the fact of the matter is, more than likely, we're gonna be on the losing end of this deal. I mean, that's kind of where we feel like we are, we feel like we're backed up against a wall. Okay, so if and when, or if that happens, if we can't stop this project, what can you do for us that's gonna make it better? Right now, you're suggesting a roundabout, you're saying $100,000, maybe we could do a park instead of that third warehouse. But can we have that in writing? What can you do
That'd
for
be
the
a part of the
actual?
approval ordinance. It'd be a part of
Okay,
it.
what can we do for the property owners that this, when I say directly affects myself? I mean, you know, are you gonna come to me and say, hey, can we build a wall to help do this? You know, I don't want just a few
Additional
shrubs.
screening?
Right, can we do some things, I mean, what can you offer those directly impacted? Is there something that you can do to directly help us? Can you come meet with me and talk with me and walk my property? Not ride down the dirt road?
You want me to write you a check?
I don't want
Me
you to write me a
too.
check.
Okay, but that's what I'm basically hearing.
No, I don't. That is not who I am. I am not that person. I am a community person. I am about all of the people,
As far as
not just
additional,
myself.
as far as I don't feel comfortable necessarily just meeting with you because you're not the only resident that is impacted.
My dad, and who's
You're not
94
the
years old and
only,
can't
you're not
hear.
the only one. And then your dad either. And so what we're trying to say here is we have to consider everybody, right? So that's including people that ultimately will be in this area in the future. And the jobs that will be created there. And so, but I understand that you don't care about that, and that's okay. But ultimately, that's the facts of the matter. Now, is there additional buffers and screenings that we can add? Certainly, yes. Yes.
And the roundabout, and possibly some other things that the community is asking
The
for.
roundabout, from a grading standpoint, will suck all of the cost out. So there won't be $100,000 towards any park. We will need that other building that is there. Economically, the roundabout will crush it. And Antonio's here right now. He can share from a grading standpoint.
So you just said,
You're gonna
you
massacre
did
the
the
whole site.
roundabout, no
You can do that.
100,000?
Well,
Yeah, right.
I mean, the big challenge you have is,
Antonio, can
you
you
guys-
please stand up? So they can hear you. They can hear you.
no, it's not just GDOT, is, if you drive up Spence Road, right? You
Yeah.
go up and then back down, right?
Right.
The high point is Spence Road, and then the sites slope back down on both sides, on both
Yes,
sides,
at
right?
my house.
The only way you're gonna get a roundabout in there is if you flatten Spence Road. And you're gonna have to bring Spence Road down about 20 feet from its current elevation. Just to get, I mean, your roundabout, you can't exceed, I mean, the existing roads probably slope around 6%. Spence Road, I mean, your roundabout for safety, you can't exceed 1% or 1.5% going around that roundabout. So you gotta think about your approaches and everything, you have to have a line of sight entering the roundabout and exiting the roundabout.
Yes.
So you have to bring the whole thing down.
Have you studied that area yet?
Oh, yeah.
We have to.
You have, and you realize there's rock there.
That is,
have
that is a part of the equation.
The owner of the house wanted a basement, and he wanted to be seen from the road. And so when he done the setback from the road, it started getting down, he ran into rock, and that's the reason the house is behind the hill. So yes, what you say is right about that, but what you did not bring for us to see, especially her, is a miniature topo of how high these warehouses gonna be once they end. Because there's a possibility where her house is and the hill between her house and that, these warehouses might be low enough down to where it might work for her.
Yeah, so
I'm down low.
So we've done a study, so where your
Yeah.
house is, the
Yeah.
elevation wise compared to our property line, you're 10 feet lower, right? And we're coming down into our site, yeah, so we're going down into the site. except for we can't get down into the site as quick as we need to.
Where's your slope gonna be? Where's your,
So
you're gonna grade this flat.
Yeah, so we're entering the site right here. This is their high point of the road. So you have sight distance going both directions.
Right.
You're coming down, you can see that we don't have a driveway connection anywhere between here, is because we're using that long road to actually get down into
Okay.
the site and lowering the building. So we're projecting our building to be around 963, right?
Okay.
The road at the grade at the road is, I think, 1010.
Okay.
So we're coming down almost 50 feet
Okay.
along this drop, and this drop is sloping at 5%.
Right.
Yeah, we can't exceed 6-8% with the truck, or you're just gonna bottom out the truck on the slope. So same thing going around to that truck court. I mean, that's what we're factoring in.
So this is challenging, this
Yeah,
site.
I mean,
It's gotta develop.
it's not the easiest site yet.
Yeah.
How
Okay.
has sound been, we were talking about just annoyance of driving and impact of trucks and, beating down on the roads and stuff like that, but how has sound been, that study of the sound of the impact on the warehouse has been kind of looked at?
So we haven't done a noise study, but one thing that we are heavily looking at is the fact that the elevation change from the adjacent properties. And like I said, we're down, so our truck courts are down. So we're 40 feet down off of the road, and on this truck court and this truck court. So you can imagine how we're lower than the adjacent residences.
And the adjacent
It would be nice to have that noise study simply because clearing that land does pull in the interstate noise as well. And so being able to figure that out, or at least have an idea of that in advance would be super helpful information.
If I may, there's no other warehouses on that side of 85. Now, yes, there's a CSX yard, there's a smaller yard by Purina, but if we could keep the warehouses over there where the other warehouses are, and you see there's a whole community that could be residential, and that would fit in the community that's already there. Valley Brook.
That's not a true statement. As you go further up Sonoya and it becomes Fairburn Industrial at that next light, there's a whole industrial park over there on the left before you even get to 20.
Yeah, you're going away from Spence Road, you're going away from, they call it East Camelton, State Route 92. As you're coming into Fairburn, you have an older community on the right, Poplar Road, and you got hundreds of beautiful houses, and on the left you have Valley Brook. What would fit in there would be residential. Build us something that is a mixture like Serenbe or what's the place out there in Trilith, or Peachtree City, the way it was, where when they initially built, they worked around Mother Nature and the environment. And I tell you, running through the trails or riding your bike in Peachtree City.
How close is Trilith, Peachtree City, and those other developments that you brought up, Serenbe? How close are they to a major interstate?
A major interstate?
Yeah.
That's another thing, safety-wise.
No,
Hold it. You know how far. You don't need to ask me.
close.
I don't know how far it
That's
is.
why.
Hold
That's
it.
why it makes sense for
Brake
that.
dust,
So are
tires,
you
when
done?
tires
Are
wear
you
out,
done?
I can tell you, from
We've
downtown
addressed
Fairburn,
that.
from that expressway, you got a
You're not
black
allowing us
film
to be
and
able to
soot
have this.
that's all over the city. Sharko had to change out his top on his greenhouse because of the black stuff on it.
That was 7 years worth of plastic.
That's what I'm saying, it's everywhere, it's soot from the expressway. So anyway, look, you guys, I mean, you're handing out trinkets, $100,000 for a half a playground, or a roundabout. You're still stuck on, we're gonna put warehouses in here. And you're not really listening to it. We don't want warehouses, we want residential. Something special like has currently been developed in other areas. So with that, y'all, that's my summary. See you around. Good night.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you.
Get your pants, get your pants. Go home.
I wish you'd get some more beads, Tony.
Oh.
Cheryl, good to see you.
Good to see
See you
you.
later.
Oh.
Good night.
Bye. So CSX may have noise studies
sir.
done, just because they go.
You're supposed to be my broker. What happened?
Now, you know what happened.
Well, you found the site.
It's very loud and very windy. So they may have studies done if increased traffic in terms of their, more and more warehouses coming, they may already have noise stuff that y'all could look into.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely.
Noise, yes.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, our building may mitigate some of the noise off there, because
Yeah.
85 is down, our building's down. Yeah, so.
You spoke on the elevation of the warehouse on this side. Can you speak on it on the other side as well, please?
You talking about this one?
Yes.
Yeah, so, for this site itself, I mean, we're looking at our grade for our building is roughly 10, 11. So we're coming in at grade on this side. And then, when we're actually down here on Old Sonoya, I wanna say we're at 990 maybe. So we're up from Old Sonoya and almost at grade.
So that one's gonna sit a lot higher relative to 92.
It's also a further distance away.
There's another, behind the house, that's a relatively flat field. If you talk about relatives, with few dips compared to the other side, which drops down pretty drastically.
So to balance the site, are you gonna be taking cut from the north side and filling the south side?
Yeah, so we're anticipating taking cut from this side and placing it on that.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, 'cause it's, when I say it's a large drop off, it's drastic.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, so we have to balance the two sites out. We're bringing in cut off of this site onto the site.
What are you anticipating for Corps of Engineers permitting?
So we're staying, I mean, hopefully with our crossing, we do have to get a core permit for the crossing. You know, we're not getting stream buffer variances, that is exempt, from the.
You doing bridge or,
Oh,
or
no,
culvert?
so we're gonna do a culvert.
Culvert,
So,
culvert.
yeah, so we're looking at a culvert. and-
1, 2, or 3?
So we're still in the design phase of that, so
Okay,
there is a nice stream that goes through there, you know.
Okay, let me tell you about that stream. From the middle of Fairmont, all around, it comes down through that area.
Yep.
In my front yard, it goes from 2 inches to 8 foot plus. And then we are saddled here on a very irregular pattern of a thunderstorm that sits over us. I only had one like that come through in the last 70 years that I've been here. And then as it gets further down, it really gets pretty healthy. So if you get the permit,